Pasternak back with Davis in front. Backdoor shot to score! David Pasternak. Seam pass in front, pounded by Shea. Up top, a try, score! Deflected in front. Good chance to score! On the power play, the rebound, and Logan Stankovic. Turnover. Hustling in, so it's a long goal. Here comes Suzuki. Comes out to across the zone. Just let it go. One motion. Loses it. Moore can't clear it. Gets it to the man. Save man. Rebound. Score.
Yeah, you're going to be hearing that theme song a lot again. I used it for the Islanders last year, and it's going to be epic to use it again. If the Rangers pull off the unthinkable, we'll find out more and talk about more of that in the next couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Big Apple Hockey, a special episode, as I alluded to on Wednesday, where we're going to be discussing the NHL playoff picture, but also a lot of news has broke in the last 12 hours. The new head of the Devils, the Rangers actually have good fortune. Let's see if they have more of that. And, of course, some goodbyes in Vancouver. Of course, guys, I'm your host, Mark Williams. Jim Berenger will be joining us in a minute. Anthony LaRocco is here with us in spirit. And always joined by the host of the Final Buzzer, Mr. John Fulkowski.
No Metallica today, boys. Got to figure this one out on your own. But, yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. I've been waiting for this. So now we have our picks to go over, some analysis, brought up some interesting stats to give you some perspectives about each playoff series. So this is going to be fun. I definitely will always look forward to this.
Yeah, because you know what? If you ever want thorough analysis, trust me, I'm thorough. This guy over here, much more thorough than I am in the analysis. And just even before we get started on any of the news that broke in the last, like I said, 12 hours, Phil, I mean, this is probably the most unpredictable Stanley Cup playoffs, period, that I think I've ever seen. And we got 5 burning questions before we get into a breakdown of series by series. But that's just, it's unreal going through all these matchups. If you guys can predict this 100%, then go play the lottery yourselves. That's the way I feel about it. Of course, make sure you subscribe to Big Apple Hockey for more on the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, all the NHL. We're going to be here with you throughout the entire playoffs. But let's start with, let's just a reminder, it might not be a regular show. We're not doing the A block, but we're always powered by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. It is great. I use SeatGeek for everything because at least I know where I'm sitting all the time. But Phil, before we bring in Jim, because I want to bring up who the Devils hired, but the unthinkable happened last night. With a chance to move ahead in the playoffs, the LA Kings lost to the Calgary Flames. It locks the Rangers into number 3, and we're going to get more into that, which is both. There's a double-edged sword with this. We covered it a little bit on Wednesday, but now the Rangers at the 3 spot. They have an 11% chance to move up to number 1, an 11.2% chance to move up to number 2. They could stay there with less than a 10% chance, but there is over a, just doing the quick math, a 69% chance, giggity, of moving down. So
39, you mean?
39% of moving down, but don't forget the other 29% of moving to 5.
Okay.
Yeah. No, no, totally fine. And you look at the Rangers' history in top 5 draft picks. This one was brought to us by our friend of the show, Mr. Statboy Steven. You're going to just put that in right there. They exactly haven't done well. Well, you got Alexei Lafreniere, who's okay. I mean, we've still been waiting to see him break out. Capo Caco, my opinion, they fumbled the ball with him. But you got Brad Park, who's a Hall of Famer and was one of the best defensemen of his era. And if you can name any of the other 3 guys off the top of your head, I know Phil and I can name Pavel Brendel, then by all means, let us know, and we'll be shocked.
Mr. My second home is McDonald's. Shows up at training camp, 25 pounds overweight. Yeah.
Yeah. But Phil, so going with this, what is your confidence in the Rangers lottery chances? But then after all, them making the right pick.
I feel if you're in the top 5, there's too much good talent this year. I mean, the top 5 universally right now is kind of looked at as a combination of McKenna, Stenberg, Verhoff, Reed, and take your pick of Caleb Malhotra, maybe Ethan Belchat, someone like that. Honestly, I don't think you can really go wrong. I really don't think you can go wrong there. It has to be the right pick, though. I mean, Carson Carl has had I talked about him on Wednesday. He's having a really good year in the WHL. Tynan Lawrence is another name that I know. Oh, here goes the BU references. Oh, I hate to tell you this, guys, but Caleb Malhotra is also committed to BU. And his father obviously was a Ranger. So, I mean, after that, I mean, does Albert Smits, does he come into the picture? He was really impressive at the Olympics as a 17, 18-year-old. There's a lot of options that they have there. This is a deep draft for defensemen. I would have loved an extra first-round pick on top of the ones that they already have, but they really couldn't get anything more, obviously. But I don't think you can really. Depends on where they pick. If they have one, it's got to be McKenna. It's got to be McKenna. I don't think you can. I don't think you can go past him. I just don't. I think I don't know if he's going to be generational, but I think that's an elite franchise type talent that you can't pass up. If it's anywhere in the 2 to 5 range, it's open for interpretation. I think 2 is Stenberg. I think 3. A lot of people in the chat are saying Chase Reed. I think, especially with Sullivan's comments from the article today from Vince, or the post today from Vince when he spoke with Sullivan, how they needed a puck mover. I do think Chase Reed is the pick probably at 3 over Keaton Verhoff, because I think Reed is the more dynamic defenseman of the 2. I think Verhoff is probably. You ask me, he's probably an Alex Pietrangelo, and that is a damn good player to have. I mean, 2-time Cup winner, a guy that I think if he was healthier throughout his career and his offensive numbers were just a little better, he'd probably be knocking for the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do think that the commentary from Sullivan definitely tells me that Reed would probably be the pick at 3. Yeah, Verhoff is probably a little more of a project. You're not wrong about this music, but I do think there is slightly higher upside, because at his size, with his skating ability and his talent, man, that is a top, that is a hard player to overlook there and go past. But tell you right now, Reed, I don't know, man. Reed could be something special with the puck, I think.
It's funny because we've talked about this, and I'm going to be a little bit less snarky than I usually am, Phil, because we talked about Caleb Malhotra, who's in this draft. And I still think the poster child for prospects that come into the league for the New York Rangers that they have fumbled. And it is Manny Malhotra is number one, because you had a coach saying negative things about him to the press. You had him being moved in around the lineup all over the place. And by the time he even got a shot at playing in the league, the Rangers didn't have a spot for him. They didn't create a spot for him. And look, and I know my opinion is a little bit different. You get the guys that go, well, you got to earn it. Yeah, you also got to give him a chance. And looking at him and going, left wing or right wing, whichever one it is, and you're asking them to do something that's not what they do, and the reason why you drafted them, that's fumbling the pick. So in other words, look at what they've done with Capo Caco. Look at what they've done with Alexis Lafreniere. Whoever they draft, they better invest in, because I swear, if they blow this, they should never be allowed to be in the top three, the top five ever again. And I don't know if you can make a rule about that, excluding a team, but why not? Because they're just going to screw it up anyway. And they've been doing it for decades. This is, I've said about Kakko and Lafreniere, it was their chance to set up the league or set up their team as Ovechkin and Crosby were phased out of the league. Instead, Kakko's gone. I know everybody's going to say in the comments, oh, Kakko was a bust. Was he ever given a chance to not be a bust?
There's lots of blame to go around there.
Oh, there's lots of blame, but I put it most at the New York Rangers. I put it most at the New York Rangers, the management, and then also, and I'll include the coaches in the management. He had 3 different coaches, and none of them seemed to have a plan.
I do agree with you there, but at the same time, this is clearly a player that has come over to North America, and he could not adjust to a quicker pace of having to execute quicker. Like, he had more time and space over in Liga in Finland, and it's a slower game over there. And he was really good there, and he was really good against men in international competition. But the problem is, at the NHL level, you have to have quicker twitch movement, and he simply does not have that. That's and don't tell me that, oh, well, he did great in Seattle last year. Okay, what happened to him this year? Like, this is clearly
again,
not a player.
I still have the opinion, if you don't water a plant, you can't just transplant the plant to another.
I agree, but there's clearly a disconnect with this guy.
There is. Okay, but let's not spend too much time on him. I opened the door for this, so that my apologies. You look at these. So you look at these other guys. Stenberg looks like he might be a real good player.
Stenberg's probably the most top 5 ready, by the way, to answer your question, Dave. I think if anything, he's the one that comes over. I think McKenna might need a little more time in college. You might see McKenna up at the NHL level, but I honestly think Stenberg playing against men right now is probably the most NHL ready of anyone in the top 5.
Yeah, because Phil, after all, let's just look at a guy that scored his 115th point last night in Macklin Celebrini. He's only in year 2 of the NHL, and he's already dominating. If you make the right pick and develop him the right way and build the kid's confidence, you can go. And because
you know what? That's unfair. That's unfair, because I literally said when Celebrini was getting drafted, I said he was the most well-rounded prospect I had ever seen in my 27 or 28 years of covering the draft and junior hockey and watching everything. I tell you right now, comparing anybody to Celebrini is stupid, because nobody thought he was going to become the next Steve Yzerman or Sidney Crosby, where he would become a generational all-around type player like he has. No one thought that this quick. Everyone thought that.
I'll amend it. What about Connor Bedard, who has all-world talent, putting up great stats, but his team can't win?
There's nothing around him in Chicago. Look at the roster there.
It's also where they're they're not building are they building the team right? I mean, it's not a great roster.
Again, so he had 30 goals and 75 points in only 69 games. He probably would have had 100 points had he not gotten injured. So look at that roster right now.
Mhm.
Frank Nazar is young. He had a nice year. Ilya Mikheyev is your number 4 scorer. Teuvo Teravainen, what a disappointing season. Andrei Burakovsky was a guy who put up like 50, 60 points in Colorado. Good player, but a complimentary piece. Ryan Donato, another complimentary piece who had a career year last year, regressed by his scoring dropped off by 50%. And then what else do they have? Artem Levshinov is in your top 10 in scoring. I mean,
Okay,
come
but
on, they don't have anything there
all right,
right now.
but again, what I'm still getting at is if the Rangers decide to go the Alexei Lafreniere route and pin this guy to the third line for years, whoever they get doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. I thought you were finishing a sentence there.
I actually did. I did. Whoever they get doesn't matter if they treat him like Lafreniere.
Well, no. The problem is that Chicago is a super young team, and they're not really surrounded by any true veteran talent. Tyler Bertuzzi and Teuvo Teravainen are what you brought in to support Connor Bedard.
Okay, but again, what I'm going with the Rangers, if they select whoever, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to figure out a way to insulate them and build them.
Hold on. But the Rangers have Zibanejad, Adam Fox, Igor Shesterkin. Right there. That's 3 pieces that Chicago doesn't have anything close to. So,
would you say that San Jose had anything close to that?
No. Tyler Toffoli? Are you kidding me?
But Celebrini is able to develop better than Bedard.
Who's on defense in San Jose? Give me one legitimate top 4 defenseman in San Jose right now. That's not Sam Dickinson, because Sam Dickinson's not there yet.
No, I can't. That's the easiest one.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These teams are all super young. The Rangers have the ability to come in and kind of like Detroit over the years, how they just continue to bring in your Datsyuks, your Zetterbergs, everything like that. Like, they have the ability to come and support these guys now. Now it's on management and the coaching staff to make sure that these guys get the minutes that they need in order to develop optimally.
And yeah, that's actually where I'm getting at with that, Phil. It's because they need to make sure that they're making the right selection and then trying to actually develop the player. Don't just make them, this is your franchise player. Treat him like a franchise player, because he very well could be.
You know, I really don't think that it's outlandish to say this at all right now, because Macklin Celebrini, to me, has the ability to become one of the best players in the history of the game. If this is what this kid is doing at 19 years old, did anyone see the chart that showed the numbers in their 19-year-old seasons between Wayne Gretzky?
Yes.
It was Wayne Gretzky, Macklin Celebrini, and Sidney Crosby. Like, he is in elite company right now. Imagine what Celebrini is going to do with talent around him. Like, imagine when, like, a full year of Igor Chernyshov developing, a full year of Will Smith healthy and developing when he's at his peak, a full year of, I don't know, like Quentin Musty coming up. Like, San Jose has all these guys that could come up in the future and help Celebrini out. They're going to be a team. Michael Misa, we forgot about the 2nd overall pick in 2025. Michael Misa as a number 2 center on that power play with Celebrini and Smith. And Sam Dickinson, who I just talked about before, running that point.
And they are
a nightmare scenario in the future.
They are very close, I think, San Jose, to being a playoff team, especially in that Pacific division.
Yeah. Give them 2 to 3 years. I'm telling you, that team's going to be a nightmare.
Well, as long as they don't try to speed run it, as Jim says all the time about
speed run.
Yeah, I mean that's such a great term because it's so.
Well, I mean, I love doing Mega Man X speed runs, but yeah.
Yeah, I do Metroid Dread speed runs all the time. And we got Jim that's coming in a minute. He's just
Yes.
setting up because we got big dudes that it comes to the Jersey Devils. But by the way, just to mention in with this Ranger fans. So this is the way the final standings go. Let's sim the lottery. And the New York Rangers move back to number 4. This is what we talk about, the double-edged sword. But you look at the 5 players that they have that are available. You got some good players that are going to be there. And I mean, obviously, everybody's rooting for, and I mean, the St. Louis Blues moving all the way up was a little bit odd, but you sim the lottery again. There's the Calgary Flames moving up only 3 spots, and the Rangers still move down. You do this enough, you see the Rangers consistently moving down to number 4, and this one number 5. So that's why it was sort of important. But like I said, there is the double-edged sword with that. And let's bring in Jim real quick just to go with the top 5 picks. Jim, hey, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do it.
Although I just kind of threw you right in there. Good job, Mark. But
I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't know why the camera's not working, but I'm here. If you guys can see me.
No,
we can see you. We can see it totally fine.
Here we go. Yeah. So I heard the comments about Macklin celebrating the San Jose Sharks. I was on the Sharks bandwagon last year. I was talking with Max Miller, one of their writers, and it was like, I was like, oh, maybe this is a year they're going to compete. He was laughing at me and stuff, but I was just a year ahead of the Sharks, and they kind of fell short. They hit that wall. Celebrating unbelievable what he did this year, and I think they're going to even be better next year. And I think I wouldn't be shocked to hear comments from Mike Greer, like similar to what we heard from Pat Verbeek last year about how this team should be in a playoffs. Like he felt like this team should have been in the playoffs. I expect San Jose to be right where they were this year and probably in the playoffs next year. That's how good of a team they have, and they do it right. Do it the Montreal way. Do it, again, you're seeing what a rebuild looks like, an actual rebuild, what it looks like in Chicago. San Jose's gone through one. Anaheim's gone through one. All these teams have gone through one. When you come out and you do it right and you're on the back end of it and you're starting to put that together, you know what sustained success looks like.
Yeah. And but looking at this top 5, what do you think about the New York Rangers' chances of landing a potential franchise changer?
I mean, the draft is pretty good this year, right? Like this is all we talked about. Was a lot of people talked about this is a great draft class. The 2025 draft class wasn't that great. Meanwhile, the 2025 draft class looks pretty good. I'm just but look, I think they can get a franchise changing player. It's got to be the right player. Just can't go off the board and think that you're smarter than everybody, because pick the best available player, the best position where you are. Like there's going to be a lot of guys that are available at 4. Steinberg, we know McKenna is going to go off the board. Reed's there. Like there's going to be guys. Like there's going to be guys, and you just look, some of these guys are ready to go. Some of these guys may not be ready to go, but regardless, you gotta just let them develop and go through their growing pains.
Yeah, their ups and downs.
I mean, Albert Smith, to me, the defenseman, is really good. I've seen him. I've watched him play. Like, that's a good player. Like, if he's available, like, that's a really good player. Verhoff, Lawrence, like, all these guys. Like, me personally, I'm taking Smiths at the if he's like he's ranked 4, he's available at 4. Take him. Don't try to outsmart yourself, thinking you need this guy or that guy. You need a Malhotra, like all that stuff. If Smith's available, take him.
Yeah, because we were talking in our private chat when you said it was kind of laughable that last year people were going, "Oh, it's a weak draft," and you had Porter Martone that went at 6, and James Higgins went 7.
Yeah.
Okay. I was hesitating, thinking he might have gone 8th, but
no. Martone went 7. Higgins went 8 because the kid went to Nashville, went at 6.
Brady Martin
went 6.
Okay. So still, you look at those 3 names we just threw out there. That was 6, 7, and 8, and they're like, that's a weak draft. This is considered a strong draft, and there's a chance of landing somebody. The Rangers, and anybody concerned at all with the chances, the likeliness, they might move down in this.
No, I don't think they'd move down unless they are absolutely blown away with an offer, depending on where it is.
I meant the
I mean,
lottery is going to move them down.
Well,
Well, if they move down, that means the Maple Leafs are out of a top 5 pick.
Unless the Maple Leafs win it.
I don't think they can be out of a top 5.
Yeah.
No, the Rangers, like I said before, there's about a 70% chance or a 69% chance of them moving to 4 and 5.
I think it's 68 or something like that.
Well, it's 69.5 if you add the two of them together.
Oh, 69.5. Okay. I was about to say, because it was like 39 and 29, I think.
Yeah. So it's that's exactly it. 39.7 and 29.8. So I mean, the Rangers could be in a situation where as much as it's going for McKenna, you might end up with Malhotra, and it's not so much of a bad thing. That's also why I want to caution all the fans. But the big news, you can argue this is even bigger news that was made last night. Sonny Mehta is the new GM of your New Jersey Devils, Jim, and a great hire, yeah. And obviously, I shortened it up just to say part of the back-to-back champions, but he helped make Florida, who also.
I mean, that is debatable. Like, if you talk to people down in Florida, that is debatable. If he actually was the mastermind behind it all, because if you look at Florida now, look, I think he's a good hire. That the picture he posted goes hard. Like, that's a cool picture. Like, look, the starter jackets from back in the day, like, everybody loves. I still have mine somewhere. It doesn't fit me, but
oh man, I miss my starter jacket.
I love my starter jacket. So, but that picture just like, I mean that should be like an album cover of something, like some rap album. like that's just any type of rock and roll something. That's a great album cover right there. But to me, I like the hire. Look, he's Jersey guy, right? Like I wrote this morning, like he's a Jersey guy, analytics, but he's also data centric. He just doesn't, it's not just analytics, right? It's data. It's okay. How do we can help improve here? How can we improve here? Like, how do these guys mesh into our system? And I've always said this, it's like, it's great. You have all these numbers, all this information, you're gathering all, but it all comes down to, does the player fit into what we're doing here? If the data says yes, then fine. But if the data says no, then you don't go get that player. Or it may say yes. Say, for instance, the data says yes, but the style of play you're playing, does it really make sense to do it? And I think that's where a lot of the decision-making comes in. Look, Bill Zito's great general manager. Yeah, Brett Peterson down in Florida. They had great scouting staff. They had great amateur pro scouting staff. Like, that's what you want in, you have to put the right staff together. You have a good assistant general managers. You have to have a good scout. Like, this comes down to me. Why is Boston turning it around? Why has other teams figured it out? Washington. Because your pro and amateur scouting, especially your pro scouting, top notch. You have to figure, like, you need to know. Now, again, people have always asked me this question, and I'll get to the Langenbrunner thing in a minute. The Mehta, did he have Jesper Bratt third in that that draft that year? There's mixed reports about that. I mean, if I was looking at metrics, I'm not even putting Jesper Bratt in my top 5 because of the guys that, if we're going to redo this draft, like, he's not even top 5 where he went. So, look, I think that's fine. Like, look, I think he's going to be fine. I think the biggest question mark, and I know this for a fact, one of their scouts, Paul Castrone, in 2017 had Cale Makar ranked 1 on the Devils scouting boards and draft boards. So I'm almost wondering if Sonny Mehta had it the same thing, just because he was still there at the time. But I like the hire. Again, it's just developing the staff, putting the staff together. As far as Langenbrunner, I think, look, the Devils zoned in on this guy. This was their guy. This is what they want to do, data and all this stuff. This is what they want to do. They probably interviewed a bunch of guys, but this was their guy. They circled him. They say, as I was told, and I put it out last night, I was talking with people about this. He was always the clubhouse leader, and it was a John Harbaugh situation with the Giants. You can't let him leave the building.
Mm-hmm. And
God, the Scott Steiner quotes are coming in. I freaking love it. Oh man,
so,
I love
so
it.
You've talked about bringing Sonny Mehta in for the Rangers. What are your thoughts of him now being across the river?
I hate this hire as a Ranger fan. If you're a Devil fan, you have to love it. I mean, to answer Frosty's question from before, because he was asking what the hype was about Sonny Mehta. Sonny Mehta was, and Jim, you went to a point. Yeah, Bill Zito's ultimately the guy with the final say there, but Sonny Mehta,
collaborative effort down in Florida. But I'm saying
exactly
the group that they put together down there, like they have in Washington, you better have some good hockey eyes on your staff too.
Yes. Yeah, because it's not just one guy that does everything there. It is a group effort. Like each general manager will go to his assistants, will go to his scouting staffs, and they pull together and they come together as a unit. And when you're functioning as a well-oiled machine, as a unit, that's when you work the best. So Mehta has been regarded as one of the top up-and-coming hockey minds in the business in terms of all executives for a while now, and is a part of a great staff that has been a winner. So, like we talked about how like the Islanders, when they hired Matthew Darche, we all praised that hire because Darche came from Tampa's system. And Tampa, they won 2 cups in a row as well. They got to a Stanley Cup final third year.
They did the reverse Panthers Cup finals as opposed to finals Cup.
Yeah. So I mean, it's exactly. It's. I mean, you could even say this. Their cap dude wasn't a hockey guy. Mehta is a data scientist, turbo virgin nerd. I mean, you want to say something like that? You might not be wrong.
He was a professional poker player, data analyst for like big capital gains. Like this is the way the world is going in the hockey world. Like this is what they want to do.
No, it's just hockey. It's baseball too.
Well, baseball, but the problem is baseball is too much. Like I was listening to Boyle and Johnson last night on NHL Network, and Boyle's right. Like, man, some of these teams just dip way too much into it. Like way too much into it. Like, look, for all the good and the innovation John Chaika had in Arizona, he relied too much on it to propel that team to the next step. It was all about data, put the team together based on all these numbers. They weren't good.
Yeah.
You know what? Brian's not wrong. I mean, some teams go way too hard with analytics. Like, I mean, Chaika also wasn't as good with them, I think, as Mehta. And Mehta, I think, has experience under a great general manager who has made all of the right moves. Are we really to question Bill Zito right now?
No.
Like, I remember when Ken Holland was above reproach. There was a time when Ken Holland you couldn't question what he was doing because he was hitting on everything. Like I said before, Mark, the Red Wings and how they were adding a Datsuk and a Zetterberg and a Kronball to, an already great veteran core. And they won 3 championships in from 97 to 02. They won 3 championships, and then they won again in 08. And you're like, wow, like this guy is just. But guy's great.
That comes back to, it's not just Ken Holland. It was the drafting. I've talked to Shane Malloy about this because he's one of the top draft experts and he has the show and everything. Throw out round 1 because it's round 1. Look what the teams do in rounds 2 through 7. That's where you build your future of your team. And Detroit, during that time, hit in rounds 2 through 7.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey has not hit in rounds 2 through 7 in years. Like, yeah, they get a Jesper Bratt here, you get this guy, but to consistently find those guys, that's why I think Ross Mahoney's name continues to get picked up in Washington, what he's done. Look at the picks that they found in a later round. Because round one is round one. It's the rest of the draft that matters. And they need a change on everything there in New Jersey. And especially it starts with, the GM. Now, can he be aggressive like Zito was? Can you find the right players? Do you plug and play players? I mean, look, Gustav Forsling was on waivers. They find dudes. They found dudes to fit into their system. And they play a certain way. And again, there's a lot of mixed thoughts because I think there was some pushback from Sonny Mehta down in Florida when it came to Sam Bennett and his contract and the Aaron Ekblad extension. I think there was definitely some pushback on that end. Again,
yeah, I was somebody that was against Bennett too. A lot of Ranger fans wanted Sam Bennett, and what did Sam Bennett do this year? I mean, he had a career year with 58 points, but he
was off to a slow,
$8 million.
Very. And
again,
look,
Sam Bennett also played a career high in minutes per game, 1830. He had never averaged higher than more than 1727. Which he averaged in the previous season, which was also a career year. So, I mean, and then look at his shooting percentage this year. His second best, his rookie year was his best at 13.2, but 12.9. His career high, his career average is 10.6. You got to start looking, at some of these things. And I tell you right now, when I look at Mehta and I look at this new wave of general management and just executives and analytics and everything like that, I think Mehta has the way that I look at it with Joe Girardi with the Yankees. Joe Girardi was one of the last ones that managed on feel and the analytics. Everyone now is just book.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
I've always said this. There's a place for I'm trying not to be like the old dude on the lawn. Hey, get off! I don't want this.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, right? I think there's a value to the numbers, and I think there's still a value to the eye test because the eye test will tell you something the numbers don't tell you, and that's is that team actually as good as the numbers say? And usually, when you watch it, it's the eye test says no. Because the Rangers for years were out, their numbers were great, but you watch them and they're defensively they didn't look great. I'm like, what's the
2015-16? The Rangers were the PDO Kings, and they were due to regress, and they regressed hard.
I think it was either 2024 too when they went to a conference final. Their numbers were really good, but
the Capitals were actually last year was the Capitals.
The Capitals the year before with the Rangers.
Yeah, and it's just this has got to come back at some point. They got to get back to the mean here. But look, I think if you mesh everything well, you get the right staff, you get the right people. He's got a lot of work to do in New Jersey with this roster. He really does. The core is there, fine. But there is a lot of work to do with this roster because I still think they need a top six forward. I still think – look, Sheldon Keefe said it on Wednesday because I was there. He basically has been saying what I've been saying on this show and every place else. This roster ain't insulated enough to survive injuries, especially the 86. They have to figure out a different way to play hockey and not just have the offense run through Jack Hughes. It can't happen anymore. You have to change what you're doing. And I think it's time. I think they have to do that. So there's a lot of work to do. You got Nico Hischier. Is Nemec going to be there? Hamilton feels like he's gone. What's Meyer's status? There's a lot of work that got to be done.
Yeah, but also the Florida philosophy now of them, maybe they're going to alter the way that they play. Maybe they'll play a little bit more of a harder game to play against. Maybe, and maybe when they bring in players from outside the organization, either via the draft or even via trade, it just seems like Florida, every player that they got, whether it was Seth Jones, Kevin Stenlin, even Kyle Opozo. I mean, I could start with the smallest guy and the biggest guy that made contributions. They all make contributions. And
well, they all play away. They all play away, the Panther way, and it starts with Barkov. Barkov set the tone in the room. No matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you were the captain of the team. Look at Brad Marchand last year. Comes in, falls right in line. This is how we're playing. This is what we're doing. This is how we get it done, because it starts with the captain. The Devils need to figure out what their team identity is. I think they want to be a fast attacking, relentless team like they were in 2022-23. That's what they need to start with, because that's when they're at their best. When they're a fast transition team, keeping teams on their heels, playing in the offensive zone, teams can't touch them. And they expose a lot of teams with slow defensemen. That's your base. You have to go from there, because trying to change things midseason, no, just play the same way, no matter what your level is. And the guys that talked about it too, they're like, you knew, like Stephen Ason especially, he was like, you knew with the Carolina Hurricanes, they're playing a certain way no matter who's in the lineup. And their B game is their bare minimum, and their A game is really, really, really good. And you're not touching. You play at your B game, that's what the Devils need to do. They got to get a mindset that says, no matter what happens, no matter what the noise is, no matter who's in the room, no matter what's going on, we got to play the right way, and we cannot let the things affect us anymore.
All right. And let's actually just go right from here to our playoff questions. We're going to do 5 burning questions about the playoffs. By the way, I started a playoff NHL playoff bracket. Thank you. Words finally came out of my mouth. We have the link on X.
Time. I'm going to do this every time anybody says this. The classroom remains open, and there will be a post tomorrow about it, since it's day one. Folks, if anyone says it's the NHL playoffs, you will hear from me. You know what it's called.
Yeah, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
What it's called.
That is 100% right. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. So let's go to
everybody. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Let's go to the 5 burning questions about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to answer these real quick and then get into series by series. Let's go with this one first. Phil, how far can a wild team go?
A wild card team. That's interesting, because we've got Utah going against Vegas. I don't see Utah beating Vegas. You got LA versus Colorado. I don't see LA beating Colorado. I'm sorry. Ottawa versus Carolina. The one wild card that I could see upsetting the division winner would probably be Boston. That when I look at that, I think if Boston gets the goaltending, I think they could beat them. I think Boston also has the experience that Buffalo doesn't have. The one thing I would worry about with Boston is they just don't have scoring depth. I look up and down that lineup, and I ask where the scoring depth is after Pasternak. What is their scoring depth? Like, I get it. Morgan Geekie had 39 goals. I get it. He had a really nice year following up after last year, when a lot of us pinched him in as a guy that would possibly regress, but he still shot at 21.5% this year, which is insane to think about. Pavel Zacha had a career year, shot 22.9%. Charlie McAvoy had a career year and may have even been a Norris finalist had not it been for injuries. Victor Arvidsson had a nice rebound year, but where is their scoring depth? It's just not enough. Unless you're going to tell me that Fraser Minton, Marat Kuznetsov, and some of the other younger guys that they have, like a James Higgins maybe, are going to step up in the playoffs and really start to kind of establish themselves. I don't I don't know about Boston against Buffalo, but their Boston's defense and their goaltending are that much better than Buffalo's, if you ask me. So that's the one upset that I can see. Otherwise, I don't see it.
Yeah, Jim, are there any wildcard teams that are going to put their matchups on upset alert?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna. Well, obviously, I wrote about it the other day, and somebody asked me about this even before Boston clinched. I think Boston, to me, is a team that you have to watch. Right, the goaltending is there. Yeah, we could talk about their depth scoring outside of Pasternak and all that, but I'm telling you, this is a Boston team that. And I looked at Swayman's numbers against the Sabres, and I know it's just the Sabres were bad. I get it, but his numbers are similar to when he played Toronto in the first round. He's like 8-1-1. He's got like a 925 save percentage. His goals against is under 2. Like when you talk about numbers, yeah, stats. You can interpret stats any way you want. Those types of numbers is why Swayman started against Toronto when they still had Omar. So, yeah, if there's a team that's going to do it, it's going to be on the backs of Jeremy Swayman. It's going to be the Boston Bruins. They are a tough out. They've always been a tough out in the playoffs, especially when nobody expects them to win. That's when they win, and that's when they make a run, right? When they're the so-called underdog team, that's when they go to a conference final, right? And I'm not saying they're going to go to a conference final this year. I don't see it, but I could definitely see them spoiling Buffalo's party because, especially in game 1, because that place is going to be rocking. They haven't seen playoff hockey in forever. I think the Bruins can do it. I think they can go up there and steal a series. Like, to me, I think that's a team. And the other team, look, I know Vegas is playing better, but it's like with this coach bump, we talk about it with means and all this stuff. Eventually, the coach bump has to come back to the mean. Is Vegas coming back to their mean? They're starting to play good. There's times they don't look great. I think Utah could give them a real run for their money in that opening round. I don't know if they'll win. But I've always said, hey, who's going to win the Pacific? Utah. They only play, but they play in the Central. I think they can do it. LA, no chance. Wasted 8 days. Forget it. That's over. That's gentleman's sweep. Like, forget it. Colorado's just too good. But to me, I think that's where I stand.
I'm going to be quick with my answer, and we're going to be quick with a lot of these anyway, because we're going to be breaking down every series. But LA, thanks for playing. Ottawa, I think they're a tricky one. They're one that I keep looking at going, I could see them kind of winning that series in a way.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that. And you look at the Torts bump a week ago, I would have said Vegas is out to Utah, but now maybe we're going to break that down in a little bit. Boston, I could tell you, like you guys broke it down very well. Buffalo needs to win game 1. And in a way, maybe game 2 as well. They got to win the first 2 because Boston's got that experience that if they get a split, that makes everything dangerous for Buffalo the rest of the series. I'm thinking about sort of other series where you got the young upstart team, like maybe, I'm sorry to always bring up the Rangers for this, but the 95 Nordiques versus Rangers. That's what it kind of reminds me of. You got the team that finally figured it out, up and coming. You're going, all right, here they come. And then they get beat by the older, savvy team that everybody's been there, been in place, and they were able to figure it all out. Since
like Buffalo and Boston, I feel like Boston's got the savvy. And yeah, I actually just saw this, David. You probably saw me make some like face where I was like shocked face. Yeah, I just saw this on Twitter. Horrible. Garrett Anderson.
I forgot it, by the way. Garrett Anderson won that home run derby against I think it was Bulls. I think it was in Chicago where they faced off.
I remember him like having a real good run. I don't know if he won. I don't think he won it.
But he was in the finals against Bulls and that. But he was a damn good player, and yeah, that's sad to hear.
No, he did win it. He did win it. He
did win it. It was in Chicago. Right. You would tell you Phil. All right. Phil, let me go right back to you with this one. We're gonna go back to Jim in a second. But let's go look at the Edmonton Oilers. Have they improved or regressed from last year? And sort of, I guess, what's your confidence on them coming into the playoffs?
I think this is a team that's regressed. I like their goaltending situation. I feel like less and less each year. They trade Skinner to Pittsburgh for Jarry, and Skinner looks better in Pittsburgh. Jarry looks worse in Edmonton. I don't trust their goaltending at all. I think their goaltending has gotten tremendously worse. I think overall they're not the team that they were. And now, like, you're going to have Connor McDavid had a hell of a year. 138 points to lead the NHL, 90 assists, which led the NHL. But like, you look at this team and you're like, huh? Like, are you really supposed to be all that confident in this team right now? I mean, Draisaitl, is he going to be healthy for the playoffs? Bouchard always kind of raises his play during the playoffs, but Nugent Hopkins, nowhere near the 100-point player he was a few years back. Zach Hyman, okay, he missed a lot of time, 31 goals in 58 games. Matthias Ekholm had a 40-point season. The one thing I'll say is that Matthew Savoy's emergence can help this team out. If he is finally arrived, if this is it. Because you got to remember, he was a first-round pick for Buffalo in 2022, and I think he went 8th overall that year. But, that was a guy that was talked about as a real, like, a top-end type talent. Like, if you can get more out of him and Isaac Howard, those guys, I mean, maybe they'll have the scoring, but Andrew Mangiapane has been a complete flop there. Matthias Janmark missing half the season hasn't helped them. Their defense just really hasn't improved enough for me. I don't trust this team. I don't.
And then tack on top of that, obviously, Leon Draisaitl being injured.
Well, I mentioned that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I think my hesitance says my pessimism when it comes to the Oilers. Like, this is rough. Everybody that wanted to see Connor McDavid take that next step after 2 straight conference finals losses, and even him to a lesser extent, taking a pay cut where he could have been making $18 to $19 million. Who knows? But I mean, this is just, Stan Bowman probably should be fired at the end of this run, because you make the decision to bring in Tristan Jarry. If Tristan Jarry was the answer, what in God's name was the question? I can't help but say like that. Like, this was a guy that I guarantee when that phone call was made to Kyle Dubas probably couldn't say yes fast enough as soon as Tristan Jarry was on the table. I mean, and it's just, what were you thinking? And now looking at the rest of the team, like, I mean, they're getting closer to blowing this thing up. And because after McDavid and Draisaitl, what do they really got? And they don't even have Corey Perry, so you're not going to lose in the Stanley Cup Finals this year. So, Jim, what do you think about Edmonton this year? Have they improved? Are they something that they're going to be a tougher team to play against, or are they regressed?
Look, I think Edmonton's going to be a tough team to play against because 97's there. He's just playing on a different level right now, even with no Draisaitl. Hyman's definitely an X factor in the playoffs when he's healthy. He's that type of player you win with in the playoffs. Look, Edmonton. Look, would anybody be shocked if they go to a Western Conference Final again? No. Like,
I think I would this time around.
I think the only way they would is if McDavid's carrying them.
Yeah, and I think 97. Like I said this. I just texted somebody. I said, if the Oilers make another deep run, 97 is going to have more points than he did the year he won a Conn Smythe Trophy. Because
I mean that's fair. If that's the case, then that's fair. But like I can't trust Tristan Jarry.
No, I can't trust Tristan Jarry. I can't trust Connor Ingram. I can't trust that defense to play the way it's supposed to play. Like Anaheim has goaltending to beat them.
Jari, and Jari's their starter.
Right, and Anaheim has goaltending that can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
If Dostal decides that he's just going to go in lockdown mode, Edmonton can absolutely lose to Anaheim.
Look, I'll say this. As a roster, they're not as good as the last 2 years. They're definitely not as good as the year that they went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. They're not as good as last year. When they play defense, fine. But they need all those kids that they are bringing up, like Matt Sauvé and all those guys, to really step up moving forward. Like, look, it's great. If Draisaitl's back, that's fine. Defensively, look, everybody out west wants to say about an East Coast bias about Evan Bouchard. There's more to the game than just putting up 90-something points. Like, defensively.
Yeah, I've seen Evan Bouchard before. His name was Tyson Barrie.
Right.
Yeah, no, I totally disagree with that. And the reason I'll say this is like, and I said it before, that guy, he just kind of slacks off in the regular season. And then when the playoffs actually come around, you see a different Evan Bouchard. I'm not saying he's Norris caliber defensively.
No.
But there is a clear step up in play defensively from regular season to playoffs. And yeah, Bouchard is miles better than Barrie ever was at either.
I'm being a little bit snarky on that one, guys, but yeah, he's miles better.
I think if Matthias Ekholm can start playing like Matthias Ekholm can.
He has, though. That's the issue.
No, I mean, he's like early in the season, he wasn't playing up to his level, though. Like, we know what he can be. And he needs to play a little bit up to that.
He was right, though. Ekholm being hurt going into the playoffs didn't help out.
No.
A healthy Ekholm is definitely a key to success. I mean, I know Darnell Nurse gets a lot of flack for that contract, and rightfully so, because that contract is awful. But I mean, he does play some decent defense. If he was making like $6 million a year, I don't think you would hear a word about him.
Who?
All right, but
Darnell Nurse.
No, oh God, yeah, no. But
there's still far too many turnovers.
I've always said this about Darnell Nurse. Good on his agent for getting him that contract.
Yeah, the contract's horrible, but again, if he you know what? We'll talk about this a little later. I definitely have some follow-ups in store for some of these. So
yeah. So Jim, let's go right back to you. And who's coming out of the Atlantic Gauntlet, because that looks like the bracket of death.
To me, I think the winner of Montreal, Tampa can make a run. I just think those are the two teams right now that I circle and say they have the experience that can make a run like that. I think the winner of that could be going to a final. I think you get through that series, that's going to set you up well for the rest of the playoffs.
All right, Phil, what do you think about the Atlantic?
If Tampa's guys are healthy, like if Hedman comes back and he's healthy and his mind is clear from whatever he was going through, for me, it's Tampa. I just think they're too good. I think their talent they just know how to win. They have the right guys in the right spots. McDonough, Chernak, Moser. I mean, that's a nice top four on defense. I mean, their bottom pairing is kind of questionable, but I mean, the depth they have up front too is just it's great. Like Point, Kucherov, Gensel, Cirelli, all their firepower up front, and the depth players that they have come in all the time and just produce to whatever level that they need them to produce to. They always seem to come through. So I like that Tampa Bay team. I mean, Darren Radish putting up 70 points in 73 games.
The guy's going to get paid.
Yeah, and then not only that, but Vasilevsky. And in terms of playoff goaltenders, he's the best playoff goaltender there is right now. He's the best playoff goaltender.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
If there's somebody that can come in and absolutely steal and dominate a series, it is Vasilevsky. And when he does that, he gets into players' heads. Like he gets to those points where you just can't score on him, and you start gripping your stick tighter, and you start
Bob
flubbing
did that.
shots.
Bob did that the last couple of years for the Panthers.
Yeah.
And don't forget, when there's a chance to close out a team, Vasilevsky does it.
Vasilevsky is the
lockdown is
closer of closers.
over. Lockdown. It
Like,
came through him.
We spent so many years talking about Henrik Lundqvist versus elimination. Vasilevsky against eliminating is still like he's got a chance. You got a chance to end the series. He does it.
I think he's got it's still like single digit losses. It's ridiculous.
All right, Jim, let's go right back to you and start the second to last question. And this is a doozy for me. Is it a failure if Carolina doesn't make the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yes. How many more years is this team going to dominate 82 games, soon to be 84 regular season games, breeze through the metro part of the Stanley Cup playoffs? I'm not going to say breeze through, but, we get the drift. And get to a conference final and meet up against a team that can just take their style and just shut it down instantly. Now, look, the first year they lost to to Florida in 2023, those were all overtime. Most of them were overtime games and 1-goal games. All right. Whoever won that triple overtime game, 4 overtime game in that first game was winning that series. Like, plain and simple, if Carolina had won that game, they're probably going to Stanley Cup final. Like, it's hard to recover after a loss like that. It really is. And they almost did because they had the lead again in game 2 and they were playing really well. And just couldn't get the goals. And that's the issue with Carolina. Where does the goal scoring come from? Do they get the goal scoring? Do they still have the center depth? Do they have the goaltending? Like, at some point, all the question marks that everybody had about the team heading into a trade deadline and into the playoffs rear their ugly heads because their style is great. Brendan Moore has them playing the right way throughout the playoffs. You know what you're getting with the Carolina Hurricanes. But at some point, they just can't get through the other style of team the team plays. Like, for instance, would anybody be shocked if the Ottawa Senators take it 7 against the Hurricanes?
No, that I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be shocked if they won, but I would not be shocked if they took it to 7 games.
Right. I think I would legitimately be shocked if Ottawa wins, but they have that's a type of team that Carolina struggles with.
Like, Jim, and again, everybody, I apologize. I'm going to compare it to another Rangers series, but this one involved the Ottawa Senators. This series almost reminds me of 2012 of the Rangers versus Ottawa in the first round, and where you had some people just going, "Oh, it's Ottawa, don't worry about it." Ottawa played that series hard, and the Rangers needed every goal and every close game to break their way. And a matter of fact, they were going to go home. Ottawa had the lead in game 6, and they could have just kept going and eliminated the Rangers. Instead, they came back and won. That's sort of what this series sort of feels like. It feels like Ottawa is the underdog. I'm not in love with any of the goaltenders in this series. None of them. I think
the guy that probably, if you're going to give an edge, you're giving a slight edge to the Senators.
Yeah.
Right? Slight. I'm like slight edge. Slight.
But can the Carolina game breakers tilt the scale? Because if you probably made a list of the best players on the ice, you could argue Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle as 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know who you would go with 3. Would you say Jarvis or Sebastian Aho? And again, I'm just doing this off the cuff. But you can argue that the game breakers also favor Ottawa too. So, Phil, is it a failure, though, if Carolina doesn't make it? Do they have to make major changes if they don't?
Yeah, I've been talking about this for a while. Like, I've been saying this. This is it. There's no Rangers. There's no Panthers. And that's been Carolina's kryptonite for the last few years. The last 4 seasons, think about this. 2022, they get ousted by the Rangers in 7. 2023, they get ousted by the Panthers. Panthers absolutely dog walk them. 2024, they get ousted by the Rangers in 6. They almost get swept. And they bring it to 6, and then they lose in dramatic fashion in game 6, obviously with the Chris Kreider hat trick. Then 2025, It's the Florida Panthers again. They finally win a conference finals game.
Huzzah!
It's the Florida Panthers again. So if they don't do it this year, sorry, Dwayne, I hate to say this, but if they don't do it this year, then yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah, and I still think you look at a team like, say, the Tampa Bay Lightning and say maybe that's going to be a juggernaut looming for them. But who knows if they even see it.
I was about to say I think Tampa could come out. Oh, we'll talk about that more.
We'll talk about more of that more in a minute. Because let's go with the last one. And guys, they have been on cruise control for the last 4 months. But Philk, will the Colorado Avalanche avoid the President's Trophy curse?
So you're basically asking me if the Colorado Avalanche are going to win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah. You know what? I still think the President's Trophy curse is that they were out in the first 2 rounds. But we'll leave the Stanley Cup prediction, just be a little bit vague about it.
Okay. So what would the bracket be then if
Colorado
beats
Colorado has the winner of Dallas and Minnesota.
They have the winner of Dallas and Minnesota. Oh man, Colorado and Dallas would be a matchup.
And here you go. Look, you want to talk about numbers? For some odd reason, the Dallas Stars know how to beat the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, they do. I honestly don't like that matchup for Colorado. I'm going to go back to it. I don't like the Gerard for Kulak trade. I don't. I think they need more puck movers to beat Dallas. I like Dallas's depth. I think Colorado can beat the Wild. The Wild might give Dallas trouble in the first round, but I don't think they win. I just don't think they have enough at center to match up. It really is the thing. It's Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
If Heiskanen if he's back, then yeah. I agree on fix the format though. That's another story.
That's another story. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that at some point. But yes, I'm gonna say no because I think they're gonna run into Dallas in that second round, and Dallas is gonna beat them.
Yeah, because I don't look at the President's Trophy and go, "Oh, it's a curse to have the President's Trophy. You lose the conference finals." And I'm not just saying that to get the New York Rangers in there, especially when you lose to a team that goes on to win the Stanley Cup. It's just, I mean, you lost to the better team, and it's hard. Like I don't look at the '96 Red Wings that way either.
No,
so
Jim, '96 Red Wings were legitimately the best team that all year. They just ran into a team that figured out a way to beat them. Like they did. And look, here's the thing. So everybody says, by the way, everybody points to Chicago Blackhawks, last team to win a cup, winning President's Trophy. There's a lockout shortened season. The last team to actually do it in 82 games, Detroit Red Wings. And the Detroit Red Wings before that. It's really hard to do.
Well, because you could argue that you're trying hard to make the Stanley, you're trying hard to win the President's Trophy. That sort of like burns out your competitive juices. But I mean, you look at the case of, and I'll bring up the 2024 New York Rangers, who had to go, and it sort of like went on a mini playoff run in a way in order to get home ice advantage over the Carolina Hurricanes because it had to. Yeah. And if they didn't win it, Carolina was going to win it. Yeah. And then maybe that series flips the other way, and who knows? Maybe Carolina beats Florida and moves on. But I do think there is something to winning the President's Trophy, but you got to be able to reset and have that competitive edge. And maybe I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe having a harder series for Colorado might be a better thing for them because you might think that might be an easy series. We're going to break that down in just a minute, everybody. Because, again, just to mention, we have the playoff bracket. Join us. Go ahead and pick with us. And who knows, maybe you beat me because I kind of went on a limb with some of my picks. So
I don't touch brackets after what happened in 2015. I don't touch this game. I missed all but one series, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm done doing this shit.
Well, I mean, you're never going to get better than that. What was the one series you missed?
Islanders Capitals. I had the Islanders in the upset. They lost to 7.
Yeah.
And I legitimately thought the Islanders could beat Washington that year.
They were right there, and Barry Trotz really had them playing well. And again, who knows? Maybe if the Islanders had a better Game 7, maybe that changes around what their fates were over the next few years.
Again, but it was just out on a limb pick. But anyway, but look, just one more note on that President's thing, because you look at some of the teams that go to the conference final, like Dallas in '99 won the President's Trophy. They just ran into not 99, 98. They ran into the Red Wings. Like, it's, if you get to a conference final, you win the President's Trophy, like, that's a good year. Like, it's not, if you bow out first round, yeah, that's a problem. But you get to conference final, you get to Stanley Cup final and lose, like.
Yeah, especially the Stanley Cup final. You get
Dallas in '98 also had major injuries to Modano and Nieuwendyk.
Yeah,
I mean, they would have, if they would have been healthy, I think they could have possibly beaten Detroit.
Yeah.
They went 6 with them with that roster. Just remember that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they went 6, and then the next year they figured it out. Like, so. But again, you always have to learn to lose before you can win.
Played one game in all the playoffs that year. And Modano was almost a point per game player without Nieuwendyk, and they didn't have Hull yet that year.
No, they got him the next year.
Yeah.
And that is very true. Usually the phrase of you have to lose in order to learn how to win is very accurate. And here's one team that did a lot of losing. A lot, but not in the playoffs. They did it in the regular season. And we'll start with the first series, guys, the Buffalo Sabres. They're going to take on the Boston Bruins. In the regular season, Buffalo was 1-1-2 versus Boston. There was a plus 27 goal differential that they've had since returning back from the Olympics. That's best in the NHL. The Sabres, since coming back from the Olympics, they have a 3.67 goals for per game. That's in the top 5. And a 2.54 goals against per game in the top 5. And we'll show you some of their other numbers. Here's some of their star numbers, though. Tage Thompson has not scored against the Bruins. David Pastrnak has scored 3 times, having 6 points against the Sabres. So, Jim, start us off with this one. What do you think about this series?
Look, I'll say it before I say it again. I think Boston can win this series. I think it's, again, Buffalo's just got there. And I keep making this point. If everybody wants to put Buffalo Sabres into this, Stanley Cup contenders bracket, well, then what did they do for the last 14 years? Oh, wait. They were golfing. They were on the sideline watching. They haven't been here. It's the first time they've been there. They're going to be excited just to be there. Like, I think a lot of people forget that. Oh, Buffalo can win. Yeah, they can. But let's not forget the emotional side of this thing. This is their first playoff game in Buffalo since 2011. There's going to be a lot of excitement. There's going to be a lot of hype. Can you control that energy? Can you control that emotion? Can you not let the moment get to you? Boston can go up in there and it could be 2-0 after 2 games and head back to Boston like that. Like, that's how good we just saw it towards the end of this season. The Buffalo Sabres were in control of a game, and the Boston Bruins just took it away from them. That's what they can do. Buffalo's a good team. They have a lot of good pieces. A lot of players that have won. This is a lot of playoff experience for a lot of first-time playoff experience. Boston has playoff experience. Boston has guys that made cup runs before. I always like to lean with the team that's had the cup runs before.
Yeah, and at least the teams that had the cup runs, they've been through a playoff overtime or maybe even a disappointing loss, because that's where experience comes in, right, Phil?
Yeah, and it's the savvy, it's the experience, it's the cunning, the guile. Like, you have to have these elements come playoff time. You really do. I know that some people who are more younger players They like, or younger heads, I should say, they like to kind of overlook these things, but you have to have them like that. That's how you win. You have these things and you win. It's not just putting together a team in EA NHL and going all the way through the playoffs and winning and scoring a bunch of goals. You're Dwayne's right. You do have to hate to lose. Mm-hmm. We go back to the Rick Bowness quote, who will actually be back with the Blue Jackets next year. They confirmed yesterday.
Good,
so,
that's good for him. Good for him.
And good. He should be back.
He should be back for what he did for that team.
Yeah, and I think I kind of agree with Music's here. Like, if the Bruins can drag Buffalo into like a very chippy and heavy game, the Sabres might have some problems with them. So
I'm going to say one thing about Boston, right? If you can get under their skin, that's one thing. When they were up, I never forget the turning point of that Florida series when they won the President's Trophy, when everybody thought they should have got to go back to Game 4, watch the end of it. If they stay away from all that malarkey with Matthew Tkachuk at the end of Game 4, where he's getting in the fit, maybe Boston wins Game 5. They allowed the Panthers to flip that series at the end of that game, even though they were down 1-3.
Well, it gets interesting because you also got to wonder whether or not
years ago.
You want me to give you another analogy?
What?
Okay.
2013-14, Boston and Montreal.
Yep.
Milan Lucic and all the stuff that he was doing, and Dale Weiss taking that personally and going back at him. That's what you have to have come playoff time.
Yeah. And it was, look, I think a lot of people expected Boston to win against Montreal that year because they had just been to a final. They lost. Montreal was the better team that year.
Well, they played better. They played harder. They played quicker. And that I think that, to me, was the turning point of like speed really starting to take over the game.
Mm-hmm.
When Montreal beat the big bad Bruins, it's like, okay, we're not looking at like the big bad teams anymore. Like, it's skating is really starting. That and Johnny Gaudreau coming in the next year and having the year that he had as a rookie, like that really started to do it for me with the turn of like the skating and the skill and the possession.
Now, I think one thing could really help because I think the Sabres kind of need to let one guy know where he stands, because I know Alex Lyon has played very well, although I just think UPL needs to know it's his net. He's not going anywhere. And that'll help him from looking over to the bench if there's a couple quick goals or something. Because when you know that, as in Swayman knows that, he's in net. You're not going to throw Korpisalo in anyway.
No.
But you're going to see that that's a confidence booster. And whenever it's the point of who's in net, that's a problem. I always say this. I go back to it. Very rarely has a team ever won without a concrete guy in net. I know some people might want to bring up Colorado that had two goaltenders win 6+ games.
The best, besides Colorado, the best example is Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury.
Thank you.
That's the example.
Well, that's different, though, because Murray was out with injury and Fleury took over for Murray and got them there. And then when Murray came back, so it wasn't musical chairs like.
No, but I'm saying two goalies did it. And Kemper, don't forget, Francouz played in their run to the Stanley Cup in 2022 because Kemper had injury issues.
But that was also more because of injury issues. You knew it was going to be Kemper no matter what.
Oranges.
Going back to Phil's, or the other analogy is said, Murray might not have seen the net if Ottawa didn't embarrass Fleury in Game 3 of the conference finals. They put Murray back in, and Pittsburgh was able to ride.
And they had to go to Fleury and they went to Fleury besides the injuries. Fleury knew how to beat Washington. That's why they played him too in that series. He knew how to beat that team.
All right, prediction time, Jim. Who do you got in the series?
Boston.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I don't want to be a hypocrite on my own stuff. Like when I post it, I'm like, just stay. I'm not gonna flip flop. I'm gonna take the.
Do you have a game? The amount of games, Jim?
6.
Boston in 6.
All right.
Okay, so
Well,
we're
you
gonna
got
go
Boston
Jim
in
with
6.
Boston in 6.
Phil, what do you got?
I'd be wrong, but it's all right.
I am going Boston in 7. I just think that this could be a war of attrition between these two teams. I think Buffalo's an experienced event. Just catches up with them in the end. So I'm gonna go Boston at 7. It's gonna be a tight series though.
By the way, our Mr. Anthony LaRocco went with Buffalo in 6. I am actually going to go Boston in 7 as well, and I think it really has to do with I think it's Jeremy Swayman. I think there's a lot of things you could point the edge towards Buffalo. The better superstar is in Boston. The better goaltender is in Boston. The best defenseman, arguably, it's a tough one that to go with. But they might match up better, and I think that's why Boston wins this. It's going to take a lot, though. All right, let's go to the next series, guys. You got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Ottawa Senators. Carolina was 2-1 versus Ottawa. They outscored them 11-10 in all their home games and or the games in general. The Hurricanes before the Olympic break, they were 2.81 goals against per game. That's 7th in the league. After the Olympic break, 3.04, 15th in the league. So it's showing some cracks in that defense. You look at the Ottawa Senators, though, since they came back from the Olympics, 15-5-4. That is 15 regulation wins. And they allowed 60 goals, second best in the NHL in that span. Phil, I'll start with you. Give me your thoughts on the series.
Can Linus Ullmark be anything close to the Vezina goalie that he was in 2023? I know that was just kind of like an outlier year for him so far. But if he can be close to that type of goalie, Ottawa's physicality and their youth might give Carolina some problems. The issue that I see is Jake Sanderson going to be healthy, and can Ottawa clean up their own zone? Because that has been Ottawa's Achilles heels, their defensive zone. Carolina plays a high pressure system, a lot of shots on net. They love to go low to high. Can Ottawa clean up that area and not let Carolina get to the middle? Because Carolina has had problems even against the Rangers. They were passing up on chances to go to the middle and shoot, and they were taking chances from outside. And usually that's Brendan Moore's downfall. Is he just does not change from that system. The players just don't go there. They're not physical enough. Their center depth is also a problem. I think Ottawa has the better center depth of the two teams here. So ultimately, I just think that Ottawa just might not be able to clean up their own end enough for this. But I think Ottawa can give them problems. I do. I think not only that, but I don't know if they have an answer for Brady Tkachuk. I don't. I just think he's going to be such a problem that he's going to go out there. He's going to hit everybody on that defense. Your Keandre Miller. Can you make Keandre Miller get into his own head? Like, because that's a walking. He's a ticking time bomb of turnovers. And once he gets into his own head, he's out of. Yeah, Dwayne, really? Are we really going to do this? You're going to talk to me about Carolina's center depth?
We know Carolina doesn't.
Jordan Stahl is your number 2 center. Who is their center? Who is their center outside of Aho?
They don't have one, and it's not what's his face that they got from Dallas.
Not Stankoven.
Stankoven has not been the guy. Sorry. You had a chance to get a center at the deadline, and you didn't do it.
Look, I like the addition of Ehlers. I think that's been great for them, actually, offensively.
Ehlers has been very good for them.
That's a very good addition for them. But they still don't have center depth to match. Look, by the way, there's been rumblings that Shane Pinto has been getting votes for Selke Trophy this year.
Shane Pinto is a very good two-way player. That's not a player I would sleep on.
Right, like Shane Pinto, they have good center depth. Like, yeah, their defense is questionable. Shabbat, like all those guys, like Sanderson, is he healthy? Again, this is the type of team that Florida has lost that Florida has.
No,
beaten
I've watched
Carolina
enough of
team.
them. You have a much higher viewpoint of their center depth than I do. Sorry, I hate to tell you,
I think
but
Carolina
center
fans
depth is
have
not
more.
good.
Carolina fans have more perspective and more height on their centers than guys that cover the league, because all you hear is who's their center? They getting a center? What about their goalie? Like, it's the same questions about their team every year. And until they prove they can get past the conference final, that's what they have to do.
And it's unbelievable because we've been asking the same question for so long. And you kind of figured Carolina would be one of those teams to make that jump. I mean, I'm going all the way back to 2020, right after they lost to the Islanders, or right after they beat the Islanders, they swept them in the second round. And then they went on and
I
lost
literally
to the Bruins.
asked who the number 2 center would be to match up.
Yeah,
Not that Stahl isn't 3.
Not that Stahl isn't
I
the
asked
3.
who is matching up. You still haven't given me an answer. That tells me all I need to know about Brindamore's system and the lack of how it works and their lack of matchup centers.
Well, it's part of the problem, and why
you can
they're
continue to
almost
tell me
building
that this
the
is
team
not
for
a
the-
problem. It has been for 7 years. Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. But where are the results? One
But this
conference
is-
final game in 20 years.
And think about it.
One.
Yeah, exactly. The times they've been to the conference final, sweep. I think they got swept 3 times before they won a game.
Yeah. And then
Mike-
beaten in 5. Gentlemen
And-
sweep.
Yeah, we'll see when they get to the conference finals if they do.
Like,
And we'll see about it starting with this series, because I think this is
Prove me wrong.
and
this is a
Ottawa
much
battled
tougher-
Toronto tough last year.
yeah.
Like,
This is a much
oh,
tougher first round series, I think, that they've gotten in a while.
a long
and-
time.
Right. So let's go with prediction time on these.
But at least the Yankees.
Yeah,
won.
they're not the Islanders of the last few years, or 23 and 24.
That's fair enough.
When the Islanders scraped into the playoffs and they just get trounced by Carolina every year. You're right. This is going to be a much tougher first round matchup.
Like they're not playing the Devils again. They're not who they play in 2023.
The Devils were also not a good matchup for them.
No.
The Devils try to play
2020
the same way, but can't play that way.
Did they play 2023 Islanders? No. What the hell they play in 2023?
Yeah, they play the Islanders in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. They beat them in 6. I think Fasti had the series winner.
Okay. So yeah. So
in
again, we're talking about team again. They're not matching up against a Metro team, and Ottawa's actually played them really well this year.
Mm-hmm. Phil, so prediction time. Who do you have?
I'll go Carolina in 7 just because I think that Ottawa has some things to clean up. But I would not be surprised if Ottawa beats them. I would be a little shocked, but I just think that Ottawa has some things to clean up in their own zone. And that's really what's – and the health of Sanderson is a concern too for me. If Sanderson's healthy, then okay, then I could see that going. But I also think that Carolina's not physical enough. I look at their wings, and I like their wing depth scoring-wise. But look at their wingers. Ehlers, a guy that doesn't perform in the playoffs, hasn't performed on some very good Winnipeg teams. Svechnikov's a physical guy. Jarvis, you could probably knock him out with another concussion. I mean, I hate to say it, but he's gotten knocked out of the playoffs a couple of times. Jackson Blake is small. Taylor Hall is another one that's not healthy. And a hit could knock him out of the playoffs. He's another one with concussion issues. Look at their defense. Shane Gostisbehere. Yeah, a lot of points, but not physical. Keandre Miller, all the size in the world, not physical. You know, it just I look at this team. Yeah, they're going to throw out Martinook and Stahl and all those guys to try to be physical presences. But where is the physicality throughout the rest of their lineup? And Bussy is still a question mark. I don't care what anybody says. He's unproven. He is unproven at this level. So if he can go out there and change that, he has the weight of a world on his shoulders because he's got to go out there and be the guy that has been able to do what Freddie Anderson, Pyotr
Chekhov.
and everybody else has been unable to do. I pulled a mark there. Sorry.
No, but it's a hard name to pronounce. It really is. Like,
no, I can pronounce it, and I've done it so many times before.
I got it down too. Kochetkov. So
yeah. So
out.
Like he's got to go out there and do what all those other goalies have been unable to do. Yeah. And if Bussy has a sub 900 save percentage in the regular season, how is that going to look when he's facing tougher competition with higher danger chances?
Well, I think Freddie's going to start.
Well, Jim, go right to you. What do you think?
And they haven't addressed their physicality. It's not good.
I think Carolina's going to win. As much as I'm pumping up the Senators, I think Carolina's going to win. But I agree with Phil. I think it's going 7. This is not going to be an easy series for the Carolina Hurricanes. And maybe this is exactly what they need in the first round.
Well, Anthony had a different philosophy than us. He actually is saying Carolina in 5. He thinks they're going to take care of him quickly.
I don't.
I think it's going to be 2-2 after 5. I can tell you that. It's definitely going 7 to me. Once I said 2-2, it's got to go 7. This is all the makings of a series going 7.
The Sens aren't afraid of PNC Arena.
Right. I just wonder how many goalies we're going to see in this series. Because if there's a chance we could see 5 goalies, oh boy.
No, we just don't have the sunshine and rainbows view on them that you do, Dwayne. Sorry. I hate to tell you.
I watch the Carolina Hurricanes. I watch a lot of Carolina
Jim probably watches them the most out of all of us, I would say, but we don't have those sunshine and rainbow views on them.
Look, I think they're a really good team. But do I have them as a top-tier Stanley Cup contender? No. Do I think they can make a deep run? Yeah, but they have question marks like every team in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. And let's go to the next series. Let's go over the Atlantic Division bracket where it's Tampa versus Montreal. You look at them in the regular season. Tampa, they were 2-2 against Montreal. They outscored Montreal 13-11. Kucherov versus the Canadiens, 3 goals, 2 assists. Nick Suzuki, 1 goal, 3 assists versus Tampa. And again, I'm always going to go back to the line of demarcation of the post-Olympic break. The Canadiens have been getting good goaltending from Jakub Dobich, who has got an 11-5 record, 2.49 goals against, and a .960 save percentage. But you look over at oh my God, I forgot his last name. Fowler.
Jacob Fowler.
Jacob Fowler, thank you, because I was trying to stop from saying Derek or Cam out of nowhere.
Oh, geez, Mark.
But I know. Well, that's why I didn't say it. He's 5-2 with a 217 goals against and a .918 save percentage. Similar numbers again. So, Jim, you're the Canadiens guy. You're on that beat too. Give me your thoughts on this.
I will be there at the Bell Center for games 3, 4, and if it goes 6.
Woo!
So I cannot wait to be in Montreal for these games. Like I cannot wait to be there for that. Look, I'm on Montreal. Like, I like Montreal. I talk about Montreal all the time. Look, Tampa is a good team. They're a really good team. We know what Tampa is, but they haven't won a playoff series since. Since they went to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about.
Right? It's like Pittsburgh, right? Everybody talks about Pittsburgh for all those years when they were playing the Islanders and all those teams. They hadn't won a playoff series since they got eliminated by the Washington Capitals. They won the first round that year. So, again, this is a matchup. Everybody says, oh, Montreal's not ready. Montreal's not ready. Look, I'm not trying to be a Montreal homer here, but they have the pushback now. They've been – anytime Tampa starts anything, they're right in their face, right? Tampa's a good team. They got Kucherov. They got Point. They got all these guys. Where's Hedman? Is he playing? Like, they've played half the season without him, so they're still a really good team. Phil said it before, though. The difference maker in this game is Vasilevsky. But you know who I think the X factor is going to be in this series is Yaroslav Slavkovsky. Slafkovsky, if he plays like he did for Slovakia at the Olympics, look out with this Montreal Canadiens team. Like he takes it to another level with the games on the line, and they have playoff experience. They had it last year. They understand what it takes. I know everybody's like, oh, they're a little smaller and this and that. They're a good team. This is a good matchup. Look, I think this is a team Tampa didn't want to see in the playoffs, to be honest, because Montreal can match them with their feistiness. Look, again, question marks in goal, Dobesh, Fowler. Do we see both guys? Who's the guy? Like, there's some things, Noah Dobson injury on the back end for Montreal, but Tampa has question marks too, because I'll say this about Tampa. It's like Pittsburgh all those years. If you can get under Kucherov's skin, it throws him off his game. Malkin for years in the playoffs, like watch Philadelphia and Pittsburgh closely, and we'll get into that. If Philadelphia can get under Malkin's skin, he takes stupid penalties that costs the team a series. Kucherov does the same thing. Kucherov is sneaky dirty when it comes to playing, like sneaky dirty. And he's a good player, but he's sneaky. There's a lot of guys like that on Tampa. But they have a winning pedigree, but they haven't won a playoff series in a while. And they match. Look, this is a rematch of the weird Stanley Cup playoff final in 2021 when everything. But they've played in the playoffs before. Before that, I think it was like 2015, 2016 type that era. And it's gone back and forth. So, or 2014 and then 2016.
Well, then 2015, 2 years in a row.
Yeah. So Montreal can match what Tampa throws at them. This is going to be a fun series to watch.
By the way, just to throw on one more thing that's going to feel weird about this, Marty St. Louis coaching a team against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
You want to kick up with that team.
Yeah. So I still try to make the argument. I mean, I think there's a good argument for the greatest player in Tampa Bay history. I still think Marty St. Louis has a good
argument.
I think Kucherov has it now. It's either Stamkos or Kucherov now.
Could be Stamkos or Kucherov, but still, what you think? To me, I'm never going to not think Tampa Bay Lightning and not think Marty St. Louis. But Phil, what's your?
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, I look at the trophy case. Like, how do you look at Kucherov trophy case and argue otherwise?
It's hard. It's hard not to. It's hard not to. Phil, so what's your thoughts on the series? And then give me your prediction.
I think Montreal is young. I don't think they did anything to fix the issues of size and physicality or their defense. Noah Dobson, I really don't like that pickup all that much for them. I think he's regressed defensively ever since like his early years. Hudson is a great puck mover and one of the absolute best in the league at moving the puck, but they're going to be playing a not like, so Washington was a big physical team that kind of really slapped them around a bit. Tampa is a not as big, but still physical team that's going to give them a lot of trouble. I love Nick Suzuki as a matchup center. I do, because I do think he's going to win the Selke this year. I think 100 points locked it up for him. What a season for him. Caulfield, I wonder about him come playoff time. I do. He's going to have to really, really fight to get to the dirty areas come playoff time when the whistles start to be put in the pockets more. So I don't like this Montreal team. I honestly think they're a few years away. I think there are also some certain elements. Yes, Slafkovsky can be a real difference maker in the playoffs. I do agree with Jim. If you get that Slovakia version of Slafkovsky, you are getting a hell of a weapon. But again, that's the Olympics. That's a different game played on a slightly different ice surface.
Oh, not this year. Well, a little small.
No, it's a different game because the way that the game is called is going to be a lot different.
No, I know, but I think the fact that I'm bringing up Slafkovsky is he's got that big physical power forward presence that can help Montreal in the playoffs.
Yeah, I disagree with this. Where is the rest of their team physically? Gallagher, we know, is going to go out there and be a pest. That's been Gallagher's game for like 15 years now. Xhekaj is, a hit machine, but he's also a guy that can get caught out of position trying to throw hits. Like he's not like somebody
he's been better.
He's been better, sure.
Lately.
Sure, but he's still a guy that's prone to getting caught out of position and getting a little too far into the physical play where he stops focusing on actually playing defense. Josh Anderson is Josh Anderson. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Slavkovsky is, while he plays a bigger game at times, it's not consistent enough. And then what's the rest of their team? Suzuki's not exactly soft, but he's not throwing his body around. Caulfield is soft. Hudson, if you get a lick on Hudson, you can really, like, Tom Wilson got them last year. Like, you can absolutely see that when he threw that hit on him last year, that changed a lot in that series.
But the difference was Montreal didn't really respond last year. This year, if that hit comes, there's gonna be 3 guys in the opponent's face. They didn't.
But here's the problem. Tampa Bay doesn't have to have that. They have a bunch of lines that are all going to go out there and play pesky type hockey.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing with Tampa, on the Tampa side, on the plus side of the thing, because I've seen it too. They have a third line that makes teams try to match that line, right? Like Devils were good at that for years. Detroit, the teams that win have a line that says, okay, we can take this line and play against your top line. Now let's see what you can do to match our top line. And then it exposes the top line to the bottom 6, which allows them to do everything. Like I saw that for years in New Jersey. Put Madden Pandolfo out there with whoever. They could match up against Madonna Hall, everybody, shut them down, and then Elias Arnott and all those guys just had a field day because you couldn't match it. Tampa has that. But again, when Tampa plays their style of hockey, they win. When they continuously go into the garbage and try to muck it up after every whistle, that throws their game off.
That's what I said about Pesky. I wonder if I don't think Montreal had. So Tom Wilson could go around and absolutely change a series throwing a hit. But Tampa has those guys that just get under your skin. Cirelli doesn't even try to do it. He just does.
I love Cirelli.
Will do that type of stuff. Kucherov will do it.
How about the ultimate? Wait a minute. How about the ultimate worm? How about the ultimate worm? Corey Perry's back.
Gord.
Perry.
Gord.
Oh God.
Yanni Gord is it. You want to talk about rats? Yanni Gord is a rat.
Yeah. Like they have good players. Again, their defense scares me a little bit too, just because a little slower. They haven't been they've been better protecting the middle of the ice. It's going to be a fun series to watch. Like it really is. Like they match up against each other. It's really good to dissect.
This wouldn't be a series if either team won or any amount of games. The only way I'd be really surprised if Montreal beat them and beat them quick. That's the only way I'd be surprised. I can make a selling point on a lot of different things in this series. I know you guys get tired of me just going to the well, but whose net is it? Is it Dobic's net the entire series? Or if they go down 3-1, maybe a Jacob Fowler. They're 2 quality goaltenders. You know you're not seeing Sam Montembeault. I can tell you that.
If you're seeing Sam Montembeault, then you know the series is over.
Yeah. Who was their goalie that had more starts last year in the playoffs than Dobic. But this is...
Me personally, I think Fowler's the better guy.
But is he ready to do it?
I don't know if he's ready. I think he's the better goaltender.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. Dobic was great for the Czech Republic.
I know he was good, but Fowler has that element to his game that tells me he can steal games.
I mean, I've watched him in college. I've watched him at the World Juniors. I mean, we've talked about this guy for a long time. So I understand where the upside is, but I don't know if that's.
I think
don't know
Dobish
if-
will get.
yeah.
Dobish is going to start. I have a feeling Dobish is going to start. Which you should, because he tied a franchise record, or broke a franchise record. But again, like I was talking to somebody about this. Any other year, if Matthew Schaefer doesn't do what he did, Montreal probably is splitting votes with Demidov and Dobish for the Calder Trophy right now. Like, you really think about it. Like, that's something that they have right now. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the series. Like, I can't
This
wait.
is going to be a good series. This is probably going to be the best series of the first round. You could.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. We'll get to another good one in a minute. Actually, as I stopped it, I said that. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Had to catch myself. All right, so Jim. Well, first off, let's say this one, guys. Anthony is saying Tampa in 6. Jim, what are you saying?
I got Montreal in 6. I think the Canadians can beat them.
All right.
I'm not trying to be like covering. I legitimately think Montreal can win this series. Like, I really do. I know the Dobson injury is an issue, but maybe David Reinbacher comes in and just amazes everybody.
That could happen. And that's stranger things have happened in the playoffs.
We've
Philip,
seen
what do you
it.
got? Oh,
I have got Tampa in 6.
all right. And you know what? All the Big Apple hockey guys are going Tampa in 6. I could see this same way. You know what?
Not all of them. Jim is going Montreal in 6.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I meant the original Triforce. That's what I should have said. Yeah, we got the 4 horsemen. The 4 horsemen. The thing I can kind of see in this series, I could see Tampa going up 3-1 and then having like Montreal sending it back to Montreal, and that's where Tampa can finish them off. Which sometimes that's where it sounds funny to say, like, oh, they're gonna get beaten on home ice, but again, I've seen that happen plenty of times in the playoffs. Let's go to the last series of the Eastern Conference right here, which is the Philadelphia Flyers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins, they were 2-0-2 against the Flyers. They outscored them 16-11. The Penguins, best 5-on-5. This is the Flyers. The Flyers had the 5th best goals against on 5-on-5 in this in the NHL right now. And the Penguins are among some of the best in 5-on-5 goal scoring. Jim, give us the overview of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a war, right? We haven't seen it in the well, it's going to be a battle, really, I should say. This is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight between two teams that don't like each other. We haven't seen this since, 2012?
2018, I think.
2018, right? But we all remember the 2012 series between those two teams. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, Crosby, I don't like him.
That was epic.
Why? I just don't like him. Look, Flyers are the hottest team, one of the hottest teams coming to the playoffs right now. Like, you have to admit that. Like, they're one of the hottest teams coming to the playoffs right now. Martone's been an excellent addition to this team since he's been called up. Vladar is playing well between the pipes. Everybody's playing the right way. Taka, great coach. Like, the Flyers can get under the skin of everybody. I mentioned it before. Philly's got those guys that can get under Malkin's skin. Malkin sometimes can lose his control. Pittsburgh, though, Crosby, Letang, Carlson, like Ben Kindle. Again, comes back to who's in the net. Seeloss, is it Skinner? Skinner's gotten teams to final before. Defensively, they got to be better. So, look, I think, I like what I'm seeing from the Philadelphia Flyers. I could definitely see them beating Pittsburgh. We'll get to the picks in a little bit, but Pittsburgh's got, again, teams got to win some series here. And playoffs are a different animal. How do you want to play this? How do you want to play this game? So, sorry, the rumble of thunder coming through.
Oh, well, good. We should be getting some of that over here later on this evening.
Yeah.
Phil, how about this? Did Philadelphia call down the Thunder and now they got it?
Yeah, I think both teams kind of wanted this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really do think these two are kind of meant for each other. Funny enough, I think this is a good matchup for both teams. It's the guile, the cunning, and the experience of the Penguins versus the young, youthful exuberance of the Flyers. And the young guys in the Flyers have been stepping up as of late. I have questions about Philly. You know, can their young guys get it done against an experienced squad? Like Mitchkov did not have the rookie year that he had. He started playing better as the year went along. I mean, there were some problems obviously earlier on with being in Rick Tocchet's doghouse at some point, but Owen Tippett has been an absolute force down the stretch for them. Porter Martone, like Jim pointed out, came in. I think he had 10 points in the final 9 games of the season, or during his call up, I guess, if you want to call it that. And you look at Trevor Zegras having a nice year. Travis Konechny is usually the top offensive guy there. He was again this year. But for me, I think if Philadelphia can get in Crosby and Malkin's heads and throw them off their games, and can Malkin keep up at this point? I know he's missed some time, but he has shown signs of aging. Can he turn back the clock? And if he can't, can Philly take advantage of a team that might be a little slower come playoff time? Because you got to remember, Anthony Mehta, great pickup. The most goals of any free agent pickup this year, or a player that went from one team to another with over 30 goals. But these guys are slower skaters. Crosby, still fast overall, but not a burner by today's standards.
No.
If Philadelphia can play a fast, up-tempo, in-your-face type game, they can probably force turnovers out of the older guys who don't skate as well. So, or can they get under Erik Karlsson's skin? Will they be able to throw every type of hit that they possibly can at Erik Karlsson and force him to move the puck quicker than he would like to? That's going to be a big thing. Not only that, but Dan Vladar. Vladar right now for me is the best goaltender in this series out of any goaltender that the two teams have. He's been playing the best. I trust him more right now than I trust Stuart Skinner. And I know Skinner has the experience. He's been there. But Skinner has been prone to letting up bad goals in big moments. So for me, I'm going to go with Vladar. So honestly, I think Philly can win this series. I do. I think they can.
I mean, again, I'm going to go back to just two stats that almost seem like they contradict each other. You have, that's going to be an interesting one about that stat. Malkin's tomahawk chops. But there's two teams in the league that scored 200 goals at 5-on-5. One was the Colorado Avalanche. The other one was the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Flyers, as I mentioned in there, they're good at keeping teams off the board on 5-on-5. Which one's going to give on this? And I'm thinking about the last time Pittsburgh. Now, granted, it was 4 years ago. The last time Pittsburgh went to the playoffs, they had the Rangers on their knees. And Crosby got knocked out.
Games 5, 6, and 7, they had multiple goal leads going into the third period and lost every game.
New coach, new system, but again, older players. Crosby is older. Malkin
and they didn't have
older.
I still don't care that Crosby didn't play in games 5 or 4, 5, and 6 or whatever he didn't play in.
5 and 6 he didn't play.
Yeah,
5 and 6. Yeah,
they had chances to win that series and didn't.
Yes. So the question is, can they do what they didn't do before? Ooh. This makes it a tough series to predict. And Phil, let's start with yours.
Wait, who's going? Me?
Oh, I said Philk, but I don't think you heard me.
You know what?
Let me start this.
Um,
Our Anthony LaRocco is saying Philadelphia in 7.
I'm gonna go Philadelphia in 7 as well. I just think, like I said, I think they can. I think it's going to be tough for Pittsburgh to match their energy for a 7-game series. If Pittsburgh can get to them early and win games 1 and 2, I think they absolutely win the series at that point. But if that's like a 1-1 split or 2-0 Philadelphia after 2, I think that's going to be a problem for Pittsburgh, because this Pittsburgh team, when I look at them, I look at an older core that's slower, and they're going to have to try to match that energy. And I don't think they can do it this time around. I just think that there's not enough there. I like Igor Chinikov and what he's done since he's come over.
That's been an awesome pickup, by the way.
I mean, he's played very well with Malkin and Raquel, and they've kind of shuffled Mehta and Chinikov and Raquel with Malkin. So it's been good, but I like the size. I just don't think I like the skating.
Oh, Jim, so where are you going with this one?
I'm taking Philadelphia in 6.
All right.
Wow.
If they get them on the ropes, I think they can close them out. I like Philly. I really do. Like, look, Pittsburgh then, and Crosby and everybody's going to use this as fuel, because they did it throughout the entire year. No one believed in us, this, that, and other thing. I think Philly's playing. This is the type of team you don't want to be playing coming into the playoffs. Philly gets in on a shootout in 2010, goes to a cup final. I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Philly, the way they had to play their way into a playoffs, playing that style, they did it. They did in 2010, beat New Jersey. I think they can pull that upset in their first round.
This was the toughest series, I think, to predict.
Yeah.
And I went the opposite of everybody. I went with Pittsburgh in 6. And the reason why for that is I think their 5-on-5 scoring is going to end up being the factor. I think there's going to be the emotional factor of maybe this is Malkin's last run, and Crosby could be looking at it and thinking this might be his last chance too, because this is the weakest Eastern Conference probably that he'll see maybe in his entire career. The other factor I do want to throw out there, we have not seen Trevor Zegras in the playoffs. And in the World Juniors, he was always incredible and a money player. If he taps into that player he was before he got to the pros, then this should be a short series, I think. That's how fast I think that could be. I do have faith in Vladar. I just don't know if him never being at this stage, I just don't know if it's going to be enough. We're going to see about that. Let's go to the series that I think all of us kind of have predicting very easy. Let's go to the West and Colorado Avalanche to take it on the Los Angeles Kings. The Avalanche 3-0 versus the Kings. They've outscored them 13-5. The Kings 22 regulation wins. And I know I could just put RWs. I didn't want to confuse everybody whenever I do that with some of these. But that's 30th in the NHL. That's like fewer than the New York Rangers. That's how bad that is. And it's among the fewest, I believe, since 1988 when the Toronto Maple Leafs had 21. So, I forgot. Phil,
all you need to know is LA got in because they had a ton of loser points, and they played well down
loser points. Yeah.
So, all right, here's the deal. DJ Smith comes in. They started to play their offensive system better. Artemi Panarin's fit in like a glove. All Rangers fans know what he can do, right? But he's fit in perfectly with that team. It's allowed Quentin Byfield to be better. But There's controversies between the players. DJ Smith went to the guy he knows. And Anton Forsberg has been stealing them games and playing lights out down a stretch. The issue for LA is there's no Kevin Fiala. Colorado, you know what their lineup is. Like, you straight up know what their lineup is. The question is, can you get to that goaltending? Because I still have question marks about the Jennings Trophy winners in between the pipes for Colorado. Maybe not so much in this series, but as the playoffs progress, I have question marks about both those guys. Love both those guys. Guys are great to talk to. Guys are competitors. I know what Colorado is. To quote Dow Sutter, LA, have fun wasting 8 days.
Yeah. Phil, I guess you could give me your short thoughts on
I'm
this.
gonna pop in and out. I gotta grab some food. I'm starting to get a little hungry, guys. So
No problem. I know that feeling. I might have a yogurt in the middle of all of us doing these. In that case, Jim, are you predicting a sweep?
Gentlemen's.
A gentleman's sweep. All right, 5 games.
Gentlemen's sweep.
All right, Phil, give me your thoughts.
I just don't think LA has enough. I don't. They're leading. I get Panarin was like a point per game with them. And yeah, he's a difference maker. I just don't think there's enough around him to really make a true difference with this team against this Colorado team. Like, I look at it and I say to myself, like, hey, like what scares you there outside of Panarin? There is nothing that scares me there outside of Panarin. Maybe, I mean, Adrian Kempe had a nice season, all things considered. I mean, he outscored Quentin Byfield by 24 points. So, I mean, it's a pretty big gap, but they have only one scorer with over 50 points on the team. Panarin's the only guy that finished with a point per game. Kevin Fiala missed a lot of time. He's out. He's not coming back. Where is there? If Fiala was there, maybe it's a slightly different series. But even then, I don't see how they beat them. I don't. There's just not enough. Drew Doughty looks like he's finally starting to show signs of age. I just don't see it. I don't. And their goaltending for me with, Darcy Kemper just really isn't good enough. Like, he led the league in like shootout losses, overtime / shootout losses. A 278 goals against is really not bad, but the 891 save percentage, really? Anton Forsberg had better save percentage and goals against average numbers. So I'm not a big fan of this team. I just don't think that there's enough. Colorado and 4 for me. I really wonder about how they're going to be able to do this when Colorado's depth is just too much. It's just way too much for them. Another thing is, who's going to step up for LA? Who's really going to be the guy there? Do we trust Panarin? I don't think so. I don't think so. If Kempe is not playing, then that's an even bigger problem. That's an even bigger problem. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shorten it down and say Colorado and 4. I know you're not supposed to predict sweeps, but this is one of those where you're like, I don't even know how LA wins. And the only way I could see LA winning is if it's game 4, their backs are against the wall, they all summon enough strength to actually like get Anze Kopitar one more game. But no, the long run is over for him. I just don't see how they could do it. I'm not believing in Forsberg. I'm not believing that Panarin can carry this team. Although when he does have good playoffs, his first rounds are usually pretty good. It's when you get into the second round and beyond, that's where he really has problems. And LA just limped in. Let's be honest, they limped in. So I gotta go. I had to go Colorado for it. Anthony actually sees Colorado in 6. So Anze Kopitar gets to have a lot more games and gets to say goodbye in the final game at Staples Center. Wait, it's not Staples Center anymore. It's crypto.com arena, I think it is. Or whatever. Yeah. But let's go to the one that's extra juicy. The best first round series probably among everybody. This is a heavyweight bout that we're getting right at the beginning, and it's the Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Stars. Dallas 2-1-1. They were even in goal differential. The home team won every game in this series. Quinn Hughes, 53 points in 48 games with the Minnesota Wild, third most among defensemen, period. And I believe he has a record now, a lot of records for Minnesota defensemen, which says the lack of quality defensemen that they've had in Minnesota and the style of they played, because they always play defense first. So, Phil, give me the overview of this series. Oh, wait. And by the way, I mentioned this the other day. Jason Robertson, and although I said 45, I got to correct that to 40. Jason Robertson and Wyatt Johnson, first teammates to score 40 or more goals since Yager and Lemieux.
No, they're not. No, they're
No,
not.
they're
That
not?
would be Alfredson and Heatley in 2005, 2006 then.
Okay. So maybe it was 45 or more.
It was 45. You
was
were right on
45.
the 45, but if you go down to 40, Heatley and Alfredson did it on the pizza line in 2005, 2006.
That's why you shouldn't doubt yourself after you make all these things, especially after you work hard and do this. 1 second just made me look like an idiot. So anyway, Phil, give me your thoughts on this series.
I think that this is, like you said, it's the true heavyweight battle here. I think this is one of two series that I'm really looking forward to. I think Dallas just has too much depth. I don't like Minnesota down the middle. I don't. Eriksson Ek is a good matchup center. Like he'll annoy whoever he's playing against, but who do they have after that? Really, Minnesota is going to have to channel the 96 Florida Panthers in order to beat teams like Dallas and to get deep in the playoffs. So their goaltending, maybe you could say they have the advantage there. I think Ottinger is the more proven, but and no Rupe Hintz to start is. I think he might miss the first 2 games. They were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Miro Heiskanen, what's the timetable on him? Is he going to be healthy? Maybe Minnesota can take advantage of that, but I do think that ultimately, I just don't think Minnesota has enough depth. The one thing that Minnesota has in spades that nobody else has to that level is their defense. Their defense is just stacked. Like you have Quinn Hughes, Brock Faber, Jonas Brodin. That might be the best top 3 in the entire NHL right now. And you look at that top 3 and you say to yourself, like, wow, that is something else. And you now, like, you see the vision of what they were going for by making that trade. Whether he stays is another story. But you have Hughes, Faber, and then Jared Spurgeon's still pretty good. Like, he's still a good enough 4. And then you have, someone maybe like Jacob Middleton or, Zach Bogosian is like a 6. Okay, fine. But like they have a real good defense for them it's a handful. That defense is a handful. And here's the question: who's really going to take the net? Is it the Wall of St. Paul? Is it Gustafsson? I mean, neither are bad options. But you're right. But I always go back to that quote: if you have two guys that are number 1 goalies, do you really truly have a number 1 goalie?
That's correct. I always go back to that one.
So that's going to be the issue. Like if it's, let's just say Wallstedt really establishes himself, he pulls a Sagan into a 2011 Tyler Sagan and has a coming out party. Minnesota could beat them then at that point. But these are going to have to be a lot of low scoring games because Minnesota doesn't have the forwards that'll drive it. Like, I mean, sure, they have Boldy, they have Kaprizov, but what do they have after that? Your next highest scorer after Matt Boldy, it's a 31-point drop-off to Matt Zuccarello. Sure, he only played 59 games. But then your next highest scorer after that is Quinn Hughes, a defenseman. And then your next highest scorer after that is Brock Faber, also a defenseman. Your next forward after Boldy, Joel Eriksson Ek with 51 points in 70 games. Marcus Johansson, an aging Vladimir Tarasenko. Ryan Hartman, who has not been able to replicate that 30-goal, 60-point season from a few years back. Like, where's the forward depth? Danilo Yurov. The Rangers wanted him in any trade for Vincent Trocheck. But he has to – this is where someone like that has to break out and help get Minnesota over the hump.
Phil, there's a lot of good players that could show up from Minnesota. And, I mean – Kirill Kaprizov, 1.2 goals, points per game in the playoffs. He shows. That's the regular season. I meant to say he's still. I mean, he's 0.84 for points for the playoffs. He usually shows up. He usually is really solid. Matt Zuccarello over the course of his career has been a solid playoff player. There's a lot of guys that are going to show up from Minnesota. And you also hit the nail on the head. We know who's starting in net for the Stars, but we don't know who's starting in net exactly for Minnesota. And that's also with them having success. It's not like one guy is a problem, the other one isn't. But it sounds like it's an embarrassment of riches, but that's part of the problem. If you sit there and go, I got two good goalies, we've seen it too much over NHL history. You need to have one. That's one thing I believe Mike Keenan always preached, and I'm right behind him on that one. I think this is going to be a series, a rare NHL playoff series. I think the home team takes every game. I think that's going to be the big factor. Whoever has last change.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also the atmosphere is going to be the thing. I think Dallas is too deep. And I think there's a player motivation out on this. Robertson's back to who he was. You're starting to see a lot of these guys kind of really playing at their peak. And I think Dallas, there's a sour taste in their mouth from their last playoff game when second to last playoff game when Ottinger was pulled and DeBoer didn't put it back in, and they end up losing a critical game. They end up losing that series to Edmonton. I think they're gonna be poised to try to go far in this playoffs, and I really like Dallas in the series. And again, it's not the poo-poo Minnesota. So let's get with some predictions. Anthony said Dallas in 7. I'm agreeing with him on that one. Phil, go to you.
I'm gonna go Dallas in 6. I just think that this is I think the depth is going to be a little too much. You know what? Actually, I'm going to say 7-2. I'm sorry, because I forgot. Heiskanen's going to miss some time. Hintz is going to miss some time. The X factor I look out for is honestly Wyatt Johnston. Wyatt Johnston has proven in the past that he can really step his game up come playoff time. And not only that, but he's taken a big leap defensively, to the point where I think he's going to get some serious Selke votes this year. So I really would look out for him to make a big presence in this series.
Yeah, and I just wanted to look up Matt Zuccarello's points per game in the playoffs. Yeah, it's still about like a 0.5, but I mean, he was exceptional with the Rangers, and with Dallas, he was 11 points, 13 games. With Minnesota, 16.
Got to remember, he had the only goal in that Game 7 that would have given the Rangers that
first overall,
pick.
another first round draft pick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been right. Well, let's go to a bit of a surprising series now, because this one's, I think, one of the more interesting series of the first round, and the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Utah Mammoth. The Utah Mammoth played all their games against them before John Tortorella came in. Believe it or not, that's what happens after 74 games. But they were, I had it clicked right there, and there. They were 2-1 against Utah. Actually, Utah was 2-1 against Vegas. They bludgeoned Vegas. All the games were decided by 3+ goals. Vegas won 4-1. Utah won 5-1, and I believe it was 4-0 was the last one. But Utah has the advantage as far as goal differential goes. Showing some of their other stats in there, but the one thing I have to mention is John Tortorella, 7-0-1 as the coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. They were here it is. Vegas under Torts. 7-0-1 since he took over. Second most goals for per game, the best goals against per game. In that stretch, though, they didn't exactly play good teams except for the Colorado Avalanche, who they defeated in overtime, and the Edmonton Oilers. Both those games were on the road. Phil, your thoughts on this series?
I think that Utah has so much young talent, and I think they're an on the rise team. I just don't think they're there yet. I think this is another example of youthful exuberance versus the experience, the cunning, and the guile of the veteran team that knows how to get it done. Like I know that they haven't been able to replace Alex Pietrangelo. I get it. Rasmus Anderson has not really been the guy that they've been looking for so far, but John Tortorella coming in changes everything. And they didn't play Utah with Tortorella. So, I mean, this is a different team. Remember what we said about Mike Keenan and how Mike Keenan was the Rangers' punishment for what happened with Roger Nielsen and the whole Mark Messier thing and how they wanted to slack off in 92, 93. You know, Mike Keenan was their punishment. John Tortorella is Vegas's punishment for slacking off under Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy wins them a cup, and he's fired, 3 seasons later? They won in 23, 24, 25, and then in the 26th season, he's fired towards the end of the year. Crazy to think about that you would fire the coach that won you your first Stanley Cup within 6 years of your franchise's existence. But here we are, and I think Tortorella came in and cleaned up a lot of things. Yes, you pointed out that the schedule was not a tough schedule, but they cleaned up a lot of things, and they won games the way that they were supposed to win games. Not that look at their schedule, look at it up and down. I would say that when you look at this schedule, they won games that they were supposed to win the way they were supposed to win them. And you could talk about that, but Tortorella cleaned up everything. He cleaned everything up. And that's really, again, I would say it's their punishment. And you look at the I would say the last games under Tortorella. So this team went, they went 7-0-1, and it was a shootout loss to Seattle. But they dominated Vancouver. They dominated Calgary. They actually dominated Edmonton 5-1. They beat Vancouver 2-1. Then they win. They have an overtime thriller against Colorado, which is a really good game. They dominated Winnipeg, and they dominated Seattle after losing to them in a shootout. I just think they're playing the right hockey at the right time, and that's not a good thing for Utah. I think the last thing Utah wanted to see was John Tortorella come in and say, hey, this shit is unacceptable, and change things around. Because I think if Vegas was going the way that they were going under Cassidy, I would like Utah's chances a lot more against Vegas. I don't like them against Vegas now. I don't.
Yeah, that changed around a lot of things. And I believe Carter Hart's going to be is Carter Hart back? I forgot. For Vegas, but they've been Vegas. They've been keeping the puck out of the net, and that's one thing. That's one. I always trust the team that can keep the puck out of the net. This is the second time in his career John Tortorella has taken over a team midseason and brought them to the Stanley Cup playoffs. First time was in 2009 with the New York Rangers. That was his second stint as the Rangers head coach. Because remember, he coached a few games back in the late 2000 or the early 2000s. And that team, he had up 3-1 before Washington and, well, Sean Avery and himself all torpedoed the Rangers' chances of winning that series. So getting back to this, I still think they're running on that Torts bump. I still think they're running on adrenaline. And I also think a lot of the players, it's funny, Phil, you look at them, you heard them say 4 years of hell under Bruce Cassidy. He won him a Stanley Cup, made him a Stanley Cup challenger. And Tortorella might be the lighter coach out of the two of them. That might be the stress reliever. I agree with you. He's their punishment. But he's come on in and he said he's not trying to change so much X's and O's. But this is a case where Tortorella might just have to be a steadying hand. And there's always this knock on Tortorella. Everybody thinks he's such a hard ass. But you could tell for the players that played for him, a lot of them have respect for him. And I remember Marty St. Louis saying the Rangers going to play the right way and quickly when Tortorella was hired by the Rangers back in 2009. So he might be able to do some damage in the playoffs this year. I'll start the predictions off. First, Anthony's thinking Utah's going to keep going, and he's got Utah in 7.
Okay.
I was very close to making a similar prediction to him. I went the other way. I went Vegas in 6.
I am going to go Vegas in 6 as well. I think Utah can give them problems. I think their speed and their energy and their willingness to just go out there and have nothing to lose makes them dangerous in that regard. I don't know if I trust if I could take Vejmelka over Hart right now, although Vejmelka has the bigger body of work in recent years, obviously. But I just think that Utah is unproven as a hockey team overall. They have their certain guys like Stenlund's got cup winning experience. Sergachev has cup winning experience. Durzee's been in multiple playoff runs, obviously losing to Edmonton, multiple times in a row. But I mean, I just think that Tortorella is the right guy at the right time for this team because, it's also their punishment, but he's also a guy that really can get the best out of certain players. This Vegas team reminds me a little bit of 03-04 Lightning. Mm-hmm. Like they have guys that can go out there and play good, solid two-way hockey. Like Tortorella got Lecavalier to play defense and play grittier when that wasn't Lecavalier's game. He challenged Lecavalier. And what did Lecavalier do? He responded in the finals. He went out and scored that insane goal with like 2 guys dragged on him. He fought Jerome Iginla. Who the hell saw that coming? He got Brad Richards. He turned Brad Richards into a better two-way player. He got Marty St. Louis to play a grittier game where he would go more so to the dirty areas. The goal he scored in Game 6 ascended to Game 7. Where was he? He was right around the net when he scored that goal.
And he was an MVP winner under Tortorella, by the way.
Yes, and that too. But, I mean, I'm just talking like playoff time. Tortorella can get that out of the way. And not only that, but he has guys already in place that play two-way hockey. Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, and Mark Stone are three of the best two-way players in the entire league. You have those three guys leading your charge offensively and their top-level defensive forwards. Tortorella had to be absolutely – he must have been at half-mast at least when he got hired by Vegas, because those are the types of guys he wants to build around. And for me, I think he's a good leader of men. I've seen him get more out of – remember the 2016 and 17 Blue Jackets?
Yes.
And how they went on that crazy winning streak? Tortorella got a lot out of a team that didn't have a lot. Now he's got a Stanley Cup winning core that won a few years back with a ton of talent. That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous.
Yeah. And by the way, just to mention this, Philk, the Stars have responded. I was about to say the players, but really the Stars have responded. Jack Eichel, 12 points in the last 8 games. Mark Stone, 9 points. Same.
We're going to star this, by the way, Brian.
Yeah, I'll check that again.
We'll talk about consequences a little later.
Yes. Rasmus Anderson has been that good. It's just there's been a lot of those things turning this team around, and it's turning it around in front of the goaltenders who were the weakest link for a long time. Now, can Adin Hill or any of those guys step up? I don't know. We'll find out about that. Hell, we found out about that on their first cup run. What was the name of that backup that started games against Winnipeg? Brossois, I think it was. Laurent Brossois. But again, see, the fact that we're even trying to figure that one out is part of the testament to the team game that they played the rest of the way after they beat the Edmonton Oilers. Okay. And so let's go with the last one. Edmonton Oilers versus the Anaheim Ducks. And this series, this could be similar to that Tampa Bay versus Florida series from the 2021 season, where Quenneville, the only series he was able to coach with Florida in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You look at them in the regular season, Edmonton was 2-1 versus Anaheim. They only had 3 games against a divisional rival. Oh, the NHL needs to fix the schedule. They are with 2 more games. Both of them were regulation wins. Have to point that out. And they outscored Anaheim 16-12. There was a lot of goals scored. Philk, I didn't have many other notes in there, but here's Edmonton's top scorers. What are your notes on this series?
I don't trust Edmonton in that. And I wonder about their defense, but Anaheim, they have questions about their defense. And I mean, Lucas Dostal is great, but can he be the guy that he was in the Olympics? I mean, like, I don't know with this team right now. I think they're a couple of years away from being the real threat. They need some help. I mean, Jackson Lacombe had a great year. He almost joined the 60-point club. Troy Terry had 57 points in 61 games. It was a really, really nice year for him. That would have been a career year had he been healthy. Leo Carlson looks like he's the man. Now you see why they took him over Adam Fantilli. Beckett Seneca, incredible rookie year. Not going to win the Calder, but incredible rookie year. Chris Kreider. This was the first time I think he finished with more goals or that more assists than goals in like 10 years, I think. Mikael Granlund, nice year. You want more out of Mason McTavish. we all have our opinions on Jacob Trouba. I don't think he's all that good. I think
I agree with you on that.
he's going to get exposed playoff time. I just think the skating is just going to be too much for him. I mean, he can change a series with a hit, sure, but I just think he's just too much come playoff time. John Carlson's been a great addition for them, but I just think McDavid and Draisaitl are going to be too much. I think that it's just going to be too much. I think this is going to be a nice series. It's going to be a fun series to watch, but I just think it's too much. I ultimately think Edmonton can outscore their problems in this series.
See, that's a problem. I don't think they can. I think, and there's one player I have full confidence in who could do everything it will. And if you don't believe me, against a better LA team, McDavid just turned it up in game 1 and nearly won that game alone in that series. But the thing is, in this series, the biggest X factor I could think of is Lucas Dostal. And if Dostal is playing like the way we all think he can, I think they're in the next series. I think he makes one save. It's just that he can make one save to more than he has to, and that helps Anaheim move on. I do not believe in Edmonton in any way without Draisaitl. I don't believe in them without Corey Perry in that team because he was a good guy that went for them the last 2 runs. Let's not forget about him. Yeah, Bouchard's going to step up, but I think Bouchard's play is going to get better, but he's still good for a few turnovers. There is no reason why Anaheim can't press the game and make it into a track meet, and then it's McDavid versus.
I think that favors Edmonton, though, if it goes into a track meet.
I almost think it doesn't. I think Dostal, you just look at Dostal and say, we're going to try to play fast, and it's going to run it up. I don't think it favors Edmonton, though, because I don't think they have either goaltender that could win a 6-5 game. I know that they did it in the regular season. I know what you're saying, Phil.
But who is going to match up against them? Like, who's going to match up against those 2 centers?
Which 2 centers?
McDavid and Draisaitl.
Thank you. I need to make sure I had which team we're talking about. Well, you're going to have Carlson for one, and I mean it's tough on Anaheim with their lineups, but I just think Draisaitl's not going to be around at the very beginning of the series, though. That's going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah, I mean, sure, but who's still matching up against McDavid?
Nobody. That's why I'm just saying, you know what, McDavid, go ahead, get your points, get everything. We're going to try to see if we can outscore you. Because it's certainly not going to be Michael Granlund and Ryan Poehling that's going to be matching up against them. But I mean, I think I'm trusting in Anaheim and their depth and just Quenneville being able to push the right buttons. I just don't see that Edmonton's going to control that series enough. And when you don't have control of the series, then you're not going to have control of the goaltender. And that's why I'm thinking it's going to end up being.
Who has the number 1 ranked power play in the NHL this season, right?
I haven't looked. Who is it? Edmonton?
At 30.6%. Do you know where Anaheim is?
Oh, they're not that great. They're in the 20s.
No, they are in 23rd with 18.6.
Yeah.
So they're in the bottom 10 in the NHL. And if Edmonton gets on the power play, I think Anaheim's absolutely done. Absolutely done.
Yeah, but that's where 5-on-5 comes in. So then you have to make sure you're going to be teams goal scoring against on strength. Let's just look that number up real quick. 5-on-5 scoring. The Anaheim Ducks Yeah, they're near the oof. Wow, they're near the
The
bottom.
Oilers in penalty killing are 17th at 77.8%. The Ducks are 23rd at 76.4%. So
Yeah, by the way,
Anna,
5
if
on
you think of the specialty teams battle, Edmonton is absolutely winning this series.
Yeah, okay. I got to give you a T on that because the 5 on 5, there's only a 2-goal differential, literally 2 goals separating Anaheim at fourth worst for most 5 on 5 goals against versus Edmonton at 6th worst. Or tied for 5th worst. Hold on. Make sure nobody had 189.
I just
Yeah,
don't see them having a matchup center. Like I like Leo Carlson, and Leo Carlson coming back from the injury, like he's played pretty well. He was just under a point per game this season, but like I don't know who matches up against him and Draisaitl. I don't.
and I know you're thinking in a series like this, you might want to slow it down. I'm thinking you might have no choice. You might have to step on the gas. So, but but again, it comes down to goaltending. I have more faith in Dostal making one more save than he needs to than I do with Tristan Jarry trying to steal a game. Or
I do agree with you there. I do agree with you there. And I like Anaheim's defense a little better on paper, but I don't think either is all that great.
Right.
I do think an X factor for me is like I said, is Matt Savoy. Matt Savoy over his like last 20 or so games had 16 points his last 23 games. Like he really started to come on. That's like half of his points over the recent stretch. Like earlier on in the year, he really wasn't all that good. But this, like the last part of the season stretch run, you really started to see why he was taken in the top 10 of his draft year. So that's somebody I would really look out for. The other thing that I could say is, I think we lost Mark there for a second, is Musics is right. Quenneville is a great coach. Quenneville is absolutely the coach in this series. So he can outcoach Knobloch, but can he outcoach and stop McDavid? That's really going to be the question. And if Draisaitl comes back during this series, which I'm not sure of what the outlook is. I haven't seen an update on it. But can he stop the two of them?
Yeah. Well, and that's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come down to. So let's throw out some questions for you guys right now. We broke them all down for the last 90 minutes or so. Which of these series interests you the most? Phil, let me start with you.
I want to see Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I want to see the bloodbath. Just give me the bloodbath. I mean, it's like the Battle of Florida when those two teams like face each other, or like even the Rangers and the Islanders, or the Rangers and Devils. Like like there's going to be fireworks. There's just going to be fireworks, and that's going to be fun. Dallas and Minnesota, I think, is going to be a fun series too. The other, if I had to give you a third and give you a top three, I would say Anaheim and Edmonton. Anaheim and Edmonton, I think, is going to be a really fun series to watch too. I think it's going to go into a track meet, and I really do think that's when you're going to see it fly. I would love to see what Cutter Gauthier does in playoffs. Like, I mean, what he can do against Edmonton. Like, he had 40 goals this year. Like, people, I don't think a lot of people like know that. Like, you don't hear anybody talk about him. Dude had a 40-goal season. Dylan Guenther's another one who had a 40-goal season. Nobody's talking about it.
I was about to say Dylan Guenther is the one that if you asked about it, you might think Dylan Guenther, Cutter Gauthier. You think Dylan Guenther's the one that got the 40-goal season, also because he started so hot. Wow, these were actually a lot of good series, to be honest with you. Tampa Bay versus Montreal, I think, has got the chance to be an epic series. Colorado and LA.
Okay.
Colorado and LA, let me just fill you in on this. Blowout game 1, solid game 2, but they lose by multiple goals. LA, I could see this being like, oh God, 2006 Rangers Devils, or even 1994 Rangers Islanders, or even 2022 Colorado versus Nashville. This could be a bloodbath, an absolute bloodbath. Minnesota versus Dallas, I have a feeling there's going to be a letdown. And by the way, Phil, you mentioned before that Dallas loves to find ways to beat Colorado. Well, there's a guy that wears 96 on that team that he loves to beat Colorado.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Because
I think he's healthy now. I know
yes.
he missed some games, but I believe he's healthy now. And if the Moose is on the loose, then Mikko Rantanen, you know that guy is going to show up against Colorado.
Yes.
There is a vendetta there. He is V for vendetta, Mikko Rantanen.
I mean,
he's in a Guy Fawkes mask, running around with guns and knives, pointing them at every Colorado Avalanche player, including Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah, and he's absolutely just out for revenge every single time. And that hat trick that he had last year was a good example of that. Actually, you know what? All right, I have to pick one series, so I guess I got to go Tampa Bay, Montreal. I want to see if Montreal really is going to be able to withstand Tampa, and let's see if Tampa last year, their format or their strategy was a little bit exposed because of a good Florida team. I think the Canadians are going to have some answers for them. I just think the Canadians are going to come up short. Next question. Actually, let's see what any of you guys think. Wait, hold on. Ways to stop McDavid.
Yeah, I was highlighting that too.
Yeah. Tell McDavid the game is on another day.
Yeah, or mess up his car and make sure he doesn't get to the rink.
Or
good luck.
Because you can't take McDavid out of a game mentally. And so I can't even make a joke about saying like, oh, tell him Crosby had 3 cups by this age or something like that. But no, it's not even that. McDavid, or even trying to joke and tell him he can never win the big one, because McDavid can. It's just a matter of when. It still is a matter of when. He will win a championship. He will not be the greatest player and never have a championship. That'll be for certain. What players are you looking for the most? Looking out for the most?
Quinn Hughes is an easy answer to see what he does, but I honestly want to see what Matt Boldy does. You got to remember he was incredible in the gold medal winning game at the Olympics, and that goal that he scored to put USA ahead early on, that was just a tremendous individual effort.
Yes.
I want to see what Boldy does. I want to see if we see that Matt Boldy. Like that to me is intriguing. I want to see what Leo Carlsson does in his first playoff appearance. Buffalo, like their entire honestly, Buffalo, the entire team. Like I want to see what happens with them and like how they look. Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, a lot of their guys. Who else could I think of?
I got a few. Let me give you a few.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, you said Tage Thompson. I'm going to go a little bit off the grid and say one of his teammates from that team who's only playing the playoffs once in his career. He had 9 games, and I just want to make sure he had 7 points in those 9 games. But a guy that nobody talks about as a good to great player in this league, and that's Clayton Keller. Because Keller, he's I mean, how many other guys? I'm gonna pull a Philk right now and just rattle off some of his numbers for the last few years. How many other guys do you know averaged well over a point per game for the last 4 years, 5 years, and isn't talked about like Clayton Keller is? Why? Because 3 were in Arizona and 2 were in Utah. He's got 88 points this year, 90 the year before, 76 the year before that, and only 78 games. 86 and 82 and 63 and 67 the last year with Arizona. Or sorry, it's his no, that was 21-22 with Arizona. But anyway, I mean, the guy has been incredible. And I think he's kind of waiting to announce himself on the main stage. I mean, he had 7 points in that run that I usually attribute to Darcy Kemper playing Arizona into the playoffs, and then they were just fodder for Colorado in that first round. But I think I look at him. I almost want to see what Chris Kreider does with the Anaheim Ducks too.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, Mr. Playoff. He shows up at big moments. So wondering about what he's going to do right there. And let me give you another. Well, obviously, Sidney Crosby. This could be Sid's last chance. And I mean, at a deep run, at an absolute deep run. And I think he can make the conference finals. I'll come right out and say it. I think they got to I think either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia could beat Carolina in the next round. Sorry to Dwayne, who's probably going to watch the rest of this later. But I'm just not in love with Carolina this year. I don't think they were tested in the regular season, and I don't think they're going to be tested in the postseason, and they're going to get surprised. That basically covers everybody. And we went through this entire show and never mentioned David Pasternak's name. So, Phil, do you have any more players that you're looking out for the most, or you're thinking, go on to the next question?
I mean, I wish I was getting to talk about Macklin Celebrini. That would have been something.
Oh God, that would have been the hoop.
That would have been. He would have been the first name mentioned if they were in the playoffs. But yeah. Beckett Seneca. You know, I would like to see what he does. Ivan Demidov is another one for me. Like I know, like he came up and he helped Montreal get to the playoffs, but he wasn't great in the playoffs last year. How does he respond this year? Because he got a taste of the physicality and by the way, your thing on Clayton Keller over the last 5 seasons, 154 goals, 403 points in 390 games. Like those are some pretty good numbers. It's got to put him up there in pretty good company. So, but Demidov, like really, like what are we getting out of Ivan Demidov? Like I know he 62 points this year, dynamic player, just incredible talent, but he had 2 points in 5 games last year. He was a -5, and he got thrown around a little bit. So, yeah.
By the way, as everybody, as always, make sure you leave a like. And
yeah, we'll do a draft lottery preview.
We'll do a draft lottery preview. No worries about that. There's one more guy I want to throw out there. I was actually doing it because I wasn't sure if this hand gesture got me anything on there, or maybe even like a 4. Nope. Okay. I'm finding out different things about cameras on my laptop anyway.
Yeah,
there's one more guy, and we have to say it. What does Anze Kopitar have left? And to use the Toby Keith song, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm once good as I ever was. And I
don't know, man. I don't know.
He's still a quality player. His defense never left
quality, but like, does he give you the offense that he once gave you? And that answer is easily a no.
Yeah. Can he muster it up just one more series? And I mean, I'd love to see him go out like one of the last Jason Bourne movies, and specifically the Jason Bourne movies over the Mission Impossible movies.
9 points in 6 games last year against Edmonton in that first round, and
yeah, and then
he gave you a lot, but the problem is that there's even less talent around him now. There's less depth with Fiala, but I think they're playing against an even better Colorado team than Edmonton was.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's where the hard part is. That's I don't think it's going to be that they have much of a chance. All right, so here we go. What teams / players could face the most consequences this offseason? And by the way, players,
these are playoff teams, not teams that are eliminated, by the way.
Right.
So,
and let's add in coaches and executives.
Carolina. I wonder if Brendan Moore gets fired or moves up, or does they do some mutual parting of the ways type thing to where they don't disrespect the franchise icon. If Carolina disappoints. The other one that there's been rumors about this. There was rumors a few weeks back, like a month or so back, that McDavid could possibly get fed up and ask to be dealt away. So really to go. Also, Andre Tournier in Utah. You know?
Yeah, I have trouble trying to say that he's on the hot seat, because now we got him in. We've been having it for a while, so
yeah. But if they go down with a whimper, let's just say they go down with a whimper, they get swept or something like that. Does that convince management to say, hey, you know what? Finally got us here, but he looks like he's not really the guy.
That's a good point too.
It could go either way, to be honest with you. I don't know, but I just wonder if management would look at it that way.
I hate to say it, but if Montreal wins, I think John Cooper is going to be out of work.
No. Don't see that at all. Sorry.
I know, but there's been rumblings about that for a while. And as
he's the best coach in the NHL.
We all know this, but eventually a coach is hired to be fired. So nobody ever gets to run out on their own terms. Scotty Bowman was able to do it in Detroit. But
Cooper's built up such a resume that he goes out on his own terms.
I'd like to think that, Phil, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Because
two Stanley Cups and 3 straight finals appearances.
Eventually, every executive thinks
period in franchise history.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
all right. Who are you getting that's going to replace him?
See, that's the thing. I don't think there's anybody to go get, but eventually, every executive / owner starts thinking like Dave Checketts and saying, "How long do I have to pay for the '94 Cup? Well, how long does he got to pay for this?" I mean. No, after all, Mike Sullivan was let go by Pittsburgh.
That's not Cooper's fault. That you have to lay on Julien Brisebois.
Yeah, but
giving up multiple first-round picks for Brandon Hagel when Brandon Hagel was relatively unproven. Giving up a king's ransom for Tanner Jeannot when Tanner Jeannot's not even there anymore. They keep giving up prospect after prospect after pick after pick to try to keep this alive. And I do agree with you on that. How much longer do you have to pay for trying to keep that run alive? But what's the other option? You're going to send Nikita Kucherov out and just all of a sudden rebuild?
I don't think they're going to rebuild. But on the other hand, I think that's where they try to say, all right, we'll move on from Cooper I see. That's the thing. I don't have anybody to replace him.
Cassidy would be a perfect replacement for Tournier. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
Cassidy would be the guy that could get them to that next level. And if Tampa Bay wanted to go after Cassidy, maybe. But why would you fire the best coach right now, probably of this generation, to go get Bruce Cassidy, who got fired by Vegas and they said it was 4 years in hell with him?
Well, again, it's I got to keep bringing it up. It's not.
I agree
us
with
would
that.
do it. Neither one of us would fire Cooper. Obviously, I do agree with that. I think Cassidy would be good for New Jersey, but we'll see what Sonny Mehta thinks about that soon enough. I'm at a loss a little bit, Phil, because that's one of those consequences. They go out in the first round. I can see it really happening. Absolutely see it happening. So that I do think, and you know what, Phil, let's go with the $1 million question. Anaheim wins in 6, as I'm predicting. McDavid's going to ask out. He signed the 2-year extension to give Edmonton some sort of leverage to trade him and get something back. I think he's doing right by them. I think he did way too much right by them, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
You gotta look at Edmonton. If they're, and by the way, even if they win the first round series, do you see him winning too? Maybe because the Pacific is weak.
I think if they don't get back to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think there's a disappointment. Although I think they are a weaker team, I think McDavid and Draisaitl being hurt going into the playoffs doesn't really like help them at all. Like he's practicing, but his timetable is quote unquote uncertain. There's no word yet. I'd imagine he probably is going to play in this series, but he's not going to be at 100% or anywhere close to it.
No.
So is that a built-in excuse that would help Edmonton? I don't know. I really don't. I think that the construction of this team is just not good, though.
I think it's going to be too much. The losing you could see is on McDavid's face.
Yeah.
And everybody that asks him the question of, well, all this losing that's been happening, did you think it was going to be that hard to win? The real answer on it, Phil, is other than Leon Draisaitl, where's his help been? He hasn't had a consistent goaltender. He hasn't had a consistent coach. Like if you look at Pittsburgh when they won, there was still Fleury Letang. Michel Therrien was there, and then he was ousted for and Malkin, obviously. Then he was ousted for Bilesma. But then you look at, there was at least a through line. The only through line really is Draisaitl. McDavid had a 40-point playoff. And people were talking about him like he's a failure or hinting at it. Although I'm told that one question was more to explore things and people took the soundbite out of case, out of context. But, you know, you listen to all of it, you can see just the way he's looking at it going, yeah, thanks. Great question. Yeah, I think McDavid's going to ask out if they lose in the first round this year. And in the second round, I think it's still logical to figure that one out. I just wonder where Colorado is going, by the way. When they don't win.
If they get bounced early, I wonder what happens with that.
That's the thing. Let me ask you this. We're not doing Stanley Cup Finals predictions. But did you work it out at all to have your Stanley Cup picks? Not really?
I just think it's too early.
All right. Well, I did a bracket. I did 2 of them. I had one of them where Colorado doesn't make it. They're bounced in the second round. If that happens and they're bounced by Dallas, I just don't know what they're going to be doing after that. They're a win now team. They're aging. It's a solid question because you just got older. You got Nilsson. You got Kadri. You got Brent Burns is still on that team right now. That's a tough one. I don't think there's anything that will. I don't think there's anything that's gonna happen in Buffalo because I think Lindy's gonna be there again. And Montreal's on the rise, so it's gonna be, yeah, Cooper or McDavid are the two guys I would say. All right, let's get some more of your comments, guys. Go ahead, throw them on in there.
Yeah.
Once again, I'd appreciate anybody if you're saying prayers. Please do so. My brother-in-law can need it very much so. Any positive thoughts you could throw out there in the universe? Let's see if we got any comments or questions. Dwayne saying I first said the Avs in the first were first round outs, but now that they're playing the Kings, so second round outs. Yeah,
I can see that.
And by the way, that's where you say that's one of those rare series. I don't know if I'm happy that I'm playing a team like LA. They're just gonna go to LA and get some tacos. There's nothing like
They're
tacos.
just, yeah,
in
I
LA.
just, that does not have, I don't know. And they just don't have enough. I just don't see it. What is LA? What is their identity? What is their identity? Like, what are they?
I think
Are
they're
they
trying to go back to what they were and trying to play defense, but it's not going to happen.
Do they have great goaltending? Are they like a great special teams team? I don't know what gets them by Colorado. Like I just don't see it. They were 29th out of 32 in goals for. I mean, the defensive aspect of it, yes, they were 7th in goals against with 238. But like, I don't look at that lineup and say, hey, they were going to be able to shut down Colorado.
Yeah, since acquiring Artemi Panarin, they've got
No, we're not doing cup winners today, Sean.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're not doing cup winners. Although I'll tell you what,
Too much.
I know everybody else has said don't do cup winners. I'll tell you mine. I have the Dallas Stars.
All right.
I'm taking the Dallas Stars, and Anthony's got the Avalanche. But I'm taking the Dallas Stars over the Carolina Hurricanes. No, sorry, not the Carolina Hurricanes. Tampa Bay Lightning. I think Tampa Bay, this is their year. I think this is their year to prove it. So obviously Cooper's not getting fired in this scenario. They get past Montreal, then I'm going to say that they got to go through Boston. As you saw my prediction, Boston at 7. And then after that, they're getting whatever tomato can the Metropolitan bracket puts out. And they'll wipe the floor with whoever's there, 5 games max. Although, again, I do think Pittsburgh is going to be a little bit better than what people think. I don't know why, other than 5-on-5 scoring. I just don't
I just think the longer that series goes, I think the more it favors Philadelphia. I just think
I agree with you on that, though.
Yeah, if Pittsburgh can get to them early and shell shock them and really get ahead like a 2-0 lead in that series, I think Pittsburgh can win it in like 5 or 6. But if that goes deep, I think their legs, their energy, their skating, and what I think could be their physicality could end up being like, I think if Konechny can do a good enough job getting under the skin of Crosby and Malkin and throw them off, I think that can be a difference maker the same way Giroux did with Crosby in 2012.
Yeah. And you talked about it. That was if we talk about a series that was that good, and consider that fact that series, they were down 0-3 and they went back to force game 6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing when you talk about a series where everybody's talking about it 14 years after the fact, and they were down 0-3. I just think Sid's going to be laser focused, and I think there's going to be that message, win this from Malkin, because I think Malkin's probably going to. I would not, if Malkin stands up in that locker room in game 1, or maybe even the last practice before the playoffs, maybe today, and says, guys, this is my last run. I'm retiring after this. That's going to give them enough adrenaline to get them past Philly, who's been playing hot, I think. And maybe Malkin focuses, and maybe Malkin doesn't do things like try to tomahawk chop Rasmus Dahlin's head off. I know they're not playing, guys. I'm just saying that is the incident that happened. But that's the way I could kind of see that one going.
Sure. I mean, you're not wrong about that. I mean, it can go both ways. It's just,
by the way, Phil. Oh, I'm sorry. You were mentioning all along that Philadelphia has got the knowledge and the guile, or you kept saying guile. Pittsburgh. Okay. Well, you mentioned guile a couple different times. I don't know what I thought more of. Either the Beastie Boys song Intergalactic, so you got guile, or just thinking, Sonic Boom. So.
Well, the Street Fighter movie trailer dropped yesterday, and it looks friggin' awesome. Mortal Kombat looks to be a little more serious, darker, and gory, but Street Fighter looks like it's going to be funny and campy, and that could be.
I think that's the way to go with Street Fighter.
I don't know if I'm going to be around. I think I might have hockey night 2, I think. Saturday, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch, but Sunday, I think I'll be able to. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, we've been going at this 3 hours, guys. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us. It's going to be a fun playoffs, and I hope the first round, even going into the second round, is almost as entertaining as last year. Consider that we had a game 7 tied with 1 second remaining last year, and how much could have changed on that. I'm forgetting great moments from last year besides Riley Smith scoring with under a second remaining for Vegas. Oh, there's gonna be a good playoffs. I guess, Bill, I would say what team is under the most pressure, you think, by the way?
Edmonton or Carolina. I mean, they have to at this point. Edmonton has to. I mean, imminent rumors of Connor McDavid and not just imminent rumors, but Connor McDavid being on a short-term deal. Like they have to know. Like there had to have been some sort of conversation that McDavid was like, okay, you know what, I'm giving you like one more chance, and that's going to be it. And that's what this short-term deal was, because I don't think there's a team in the NHL that could have given up what it would take to get Connor McDavid on a long-term deal. Like that, you want to talk about Lindros 91 or 92? Like that package would eclipse that. Connor McDavid on a short-term deal where he's requested out, that's a difference. It's still going to be massive, but it's going to be a different story then at that point. And then Carolina, your two dragons are gone. The two dragons, the two demons that you could not slay are gone. Now you have to come out of the East. You have to. Because if you don't this year, if not now, when?
And by the way, shouldn't we have been more excited to go, yes, Carolina's coming out? Instead, kind of the way we're looking at it.
I don't think they can beat Tampa Bay. I don't.
I'm having trouble. I don't think Pittsburgh's scared of them. They there was a high scoring game between those two a couple weeks ago.
I don't think any team should be scared of Carolina. What they've proven over the last 8 years or 7 or 8 years is that come playoff time, they're kind of a paper tiger.
Yeah.
Their system looks so great in the regular season. Their system looks so great until you watch them go low to high and pass up higher danger chances down low for point shots.
Yeah.
From far out that they don't even get bodies in front for.
Yeah.
That might work in the first round against Ottawa, but after that, teams lock onto that, and Brendan Moore just does not change his strategy up. His refusal to change from that is what has cost them over the years. Thank you, Musics. Thank you. You think Rod would adjust at some point? Nope.
I mean, and given that he's played for coaches that made good adjustments, he's played for Laviolette, Paul Maurice. I mean, even the guys in Philadelphia were able to make adjustments back when he was there, like
Terry Murray, I think. Yeah,
Terry Murray, Wayne Cashman. I mean, it's hard to say sometimes because I'm trying to remember.
Here's the problem though. Like I said, they pass up way too many high danger chances. Like there were multiple times in that series against the Rangers in 2024 where they had the ability to come off the boards and attack the middle of the ice. The Rangers gave them it, and they didn't.
Yeah,
and they didn't even on the power play, and they would go low to high for a fucking point shot. Like that's not going to win. I don't care what you have to say about their center depth or the fact that they have Ehlers. Yeah, that's great. That's great. But ultimately, playoff hockey is played a certain way. Carolina just doesn't play that way to win. And if they don't change it, which they haven't in 7 or 8 years now, you're not going to win.
Yeah. And that's where it's you stop. And that's where you wonder about Brendan Moore on the next venture, because he's not going to be in Carolina forever. So it's just that.
You're right. Coaches have a shelf life. The reason why I argue you tooth and nail about John Cooper, though, is because John Cooper's the best of this generation of coaches.
Yeah.
And it's not close. Like, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer when his career ends. Like, not even a question. Rod Brind'Amour has not done that.
By the way, just to mention, St. Louis versus Winnipeg, that last second goal, I remember watching that.
Unbelievable.
And Maria was asleep next to me. And I'm just going, like, going out of my mind. She wakes up for the overtime winner. But
man.
There was another game that was like that. It was tied in the last minute. And that's to say how good this game was, that it put the other one out of my mind. So,
are you talking about the McDavid game in LA? Where they went back and forth?
No, not that one. There's another one that I'm thinking of. Let's see. It wasn't in Montreal. It was in was there the Atlantic Division one? Well, it was Florida who was running roughshod everybody. No, because it was. I'm forgetting what it was. I remember that there were two really good games down to the wire. I think they were clinching games. Could it have been the West? Who was the West last year? It was not Winnipeg. All right. Anyway, I'm forgetting what it was. John Cooper is literally the Gordon Bombay of hockey. Yeah? Yeah, he is. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to
elaborate that one for me. I'm sorry, I'm not getting it.
Gordon Bombay?
Yeah. How,
Mighty Ducks?
In what capacity, though? I'm not.
He's a lawyer that became a hockey coach.
Oh.
He's literally the Gordon Bombay. The only thing John Cooper didn't do was blow a .08 or something like that.
Yeah, get a DUI and then have to do community service. Yes, now I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Sorry, I'm slow.
No, it's okay. By the way, hey, good news, Bet fans. It's the bottom of the first inning in Chicago. They're already down 4-0. So, all right, everybody, we're gonna wrap this one up here, and we'll see you very soon. Phil and I will start arranging the ginormous Rangers wrap up that's coming, as well as get an Islanders wrap up coming. We'd love to get a guest on for each show. Definitely one of them to have for the New York Islanders. I mean, we'll see what Anthony can pull out, or maybe we could find somebody. But obviously we might try to get Johnny Laz. Yeah. We might be able to get Johnny Laz for the Rangers. And last there was big news.
Are you reading my mind right now, sir?
Oh, definitely for the Rangers. So, all right, guys, everybody, thank you very much for joining us once again, and we will see you in the next stream.